Mortgage. Ask your mortgage broker about Argent or log on to argentloans.com.
Before his orders to patrol the streets of Fallujah,
Chad Jenkins, First Lieutenant, Rifle Platoon Leader, Operation Iraqi Freedom.
before his deployment to the waters of the Persian Gulf,
Clint Bruce, Lieutenant, SEAL Team 5, Operation Enduring Freedom.
they shared a bond, football's greatest rivalry.
The halls of West Point.
The yard of Annapolis.
This was my training ground.
Here the lessons of discipline, responsibility, and integrity prepared me for service to a nation.
Here I learned to live the Army motto: duty, honor, country.
As captain of the Navy team, the branding of leader was one of my highest honors.
As quarterback of the Army football team, I became part of a special brotherhood. For 4 years, the unity of the uniform would be divided.
That divide would last just 16 quarters. Today, the rivalry remains as intense as ever.
But off the field, our competitors become our comrades.
Those adversaries from Saturdays in December
Are now the ones I entrust
with my life.
with my life.
United,
Shoulder to shoulder,
brothers to the end,
serving the flag.
serving the flag.
United States soldier.
United States sailor, go Navy,
Go Army,
beat Army.
beat Navy.
It is one of the most storied rivalries in all of sports. A series that dates all the way back to 1890. This is a matchup that personifies pride, sacrifice, and commitment. We come to you today from the city of Philadelphia, and for the 9th straight year, CBS Sports proudly presents Army-Navy football. America's game, live from Lincoln Financial Field. And as we welcome you inside the broadcast booth, hi everybody, Ian Eagle along with Boomer Esiason. So honored to be with you once again for Army-Navy, the 105th meeting between these two schools. The impact that this game has is felt worldwide. We know that. For the players, the participants involved, simply put, this is the most important thing happening to them.
This really is, Ian. This is their Super Bowl. These are men that are literally on a mission today. They don't want to leave this field a loser. They will fight their guts out for 60 minutes, and at the end, we're going to see sportsmanship that we don't normally see after a game as they come together as one, as they represent our country. I am so proud to be here with you and to be covering this game.
Navy has dominated this series each of the last 2 years. Army will look to turn the tide. Army-Navy, our nation's rivalry, is next.
Will someone please explain to me why nobody grills in the winter? I mean, think about it.
New Mexico, back number 3 in the nation behind Rice and Texas, averaging 290 yards per game on the ground. And Army makes its way onto the field. The Black Knights, 2-8. They have played their final year in Conference USA after 7 seasons, returning to independent status and trying to return to the win column against Navy. Lopsided games each of the last 2 years, here in Philadelphia a year ago in Giant Stadium 2 years ago. So much emotion for the seniors involved. The brigade of midshipmen, the corps of cadets. The Commander-in-Chief trophy, Navy is looking to win it outright. And time for a special coin toss as we go down to the field here in Philadelphia.
Of the United States, accompanied by Brigade Commander Travis Emery and Cadet First Captain Ryan Boca.
Commander-in-Chief, the captains for the Naval Academy.
Referee is Jack Childress.
Commander-in-Chief, the captains for West Point. Men, briefly, Navy, you're the home team in the blue jerseys. Army, visiting team in the white. I have a commemorative coin that came all the way from Fallujah, especially for this football game. I'll ask the president to toss this coin. First, I will ask an Army captain, a visiting captain, what will it be? Heads, he said, this is the head. The commemorative flag is the tail. The head, the tail, and you called heads, he said. Mr. President, if you would. He called a heads. It is a tail. It is a tail. Mr. President, I'd like for you to have that. You have won the toss. Would you like to receive? Would you like to defer to the second half? Navy won the toss. They defer to the second half. Army, you want the football. Which way would you like to kick? Kick this way, gentlemen, if you will, please. Navy won the toss and deferred. Army will receive on this end. Gentlemen, shake hands. Have a great game.
President Bush on hand as he was back in 2001 following 9/11. Moments ago, the commander-in-chief addressed both teams in the locker room. He began in the Navy locker room, and just think about it from the seniors' perspective, including Josh Smith standing there. Your leader addressing your team before the biggest game of your career.
I wouldn't really know how to react, to tell you the truth, Ian. And as we see him here over talking to Army now, and you'll see Joel Glover right there to his right. And Joel told us that the finality of his season here today didn't hit him this week. It's hitting him right here. Oh, you could tell how emotional he is.
He's a co-captain on this Army Black Knights team. Army and Navy, 105th all-time meeting, just about ready to kick it off as we head downstairs. Welcome in the third member of our broadcast team, Dwayne Ballard.
Thank you, Ian. Coach Bobby Ross, you have coached in the national championship game of Super Bowl. Where does this game rank?
Right at the very top. It's a big one. I'm excited about being here and looking forward to it. Great to be with these young men on both sides of the field.
Thank you, Coach Ross. Ian?
All right, Dwayne, Coach Ross, thank you very much. This is quite a switch from a year ago where they played in wintry conditions. This is beautiful weather, absolutely perfect football weather. 45 degrees, clear and cool expected the rest of the afternoon here in Philadelphia. Now the series note, Army-Navy. Army leading the all-time series with a mark of 49, 48, and 7. First meeting back in 1890. Navy got the victory there. Last year, Navy a winner, 34-6. We just saw Bobby Ross. Boomer, you have a very deep connection with the coach of Army, your coach at Maryland.
He was for my final 2 seasons there, and I have to tell you that his motto is, you will succeed while overachieving. He loves the underdog role. He always gets the most out of his football players, and you know, when he came here to Army, this is the reason that they brought him here, because they usually are underdogs when they step on the football field, and he will get the most out of these guys. He loves coaching this type of human being, a player that is bright-eyed, that will do what he asks, and that's exactly what he's gotten from his team this year. They won 2 games after not winning a game last year, 0-13, an NCAA record. And I'll tell you what, people at Army are happy to have him. He has turned it around, and you can feel the excitement in the air when you're up at West Point.
Jeff Blumenfeld getting ready to kick it off for Navy. Scott Wesley is the deep man for Army. Army 2-8. Navy 8-2. We're underway in America's Classic. Wesley will take it out of the end zone. Here's Wesley across the 15, gets banged at the 19-yard line and driven backwards. 22-yard return as Adam Horn made the play on special teams. Zach Dahman, now a junior, regained his starting spot at quarterback in the 4th game of the season. Biggest key for him so far this season, as opposed to the last couple of years. He's cut down mistakes, something Bobby Ross accentuated to him.
Well, it's all about getting back to the fundamentals, cutting down on the interception, which certainly Zach has done, but also getting back to running the football. Fundamental football is what Bobby Ross has brought back to the West Point Military Academy.
Dahman, a native of Fort Worth, Texas, the junior. And the first play from scrimmage, just shy of the 20 on a 1st and 10. Army looking to throw, deep drop. Dahman will swing Incomplete. Nobody home as we take a look at our starting lineups presented by Jeep. And across that line, senior-oriented with Glover, Wojcik, Troy, Beer is the junior, and Neiman the other senior. And the backs and receivers, what a 1-2 punch. Carlton Jones, Tyler Robinson in the backfield, Alexander Trimble the wideouts, Jared Ulikowski is the junior tight end. And a penalty marker on the play, illegal man downfield on the first play from scrimmage.
Downfield on the offense, that penalty is refused. Second down.
You know, Kevin Ross, the offensive coordinator for Army, that's Bobby's son, tried to open the game here with an easy completion for Zach Diamond, a little screen pass to the right side. But Tyler Robinson actually fell down before he had a chance to throw the ball to him, and he tried to throw it away. No interceptions, sound football.
And a 2nd and 10 for Army. On a draw play, it's Carlton Jones. And not much doing. Able to carry for 2.5, depending on the spot. Akinbemi makes the stop defensively. We take a look at the Navy defense, and up front, Chase. That's Babatunde Akinbemi and Jeff Vanek. Both are seniors. Linebacking core, McLaren and Jackson, the heart and soul, with Seeley and Mahoney on the outside. Mahoney, a very talented sophomore. And the secondary, Kelly, McGowan, Josh Smith, highly decorated player here at Navy. Hunter Reddick also back there for the Naval Academy. On a 3rd and 8. Dahman has the protection. Fires, incomplete. Carlton Jones took a hit. Bobby McLaren, the linebacker, sniffed it out.
Well, 3rd and long is not a situation that you want to find yourself in if you are Army. And at times, Zach Diamond just trying to hit Jones right out of the backfield, and perfectly read by the defense at the Naval Academy. And when you talk about Lane Jackson, he's their emotional leader. He's the guy that paces the locker room floor before the game, and he's the one that brings up everybody's intensity on that Navy defense.
Tom Dyrenforth will punt it with Jason Tomlinson, the return man, averaging just under 7 yards a return. Gets it off cleanly. It will take an Army roll, untouched. And finally, down at the 42-yard line, and that's where Navy will have it to start off after the 37-yard punt from Dyrenforth. Aaron Polanco had some big shoes to fill for Craig Candido, who graduated, and Polanco, a quiet leader, #2 rushing quarterback in the country behind Josh Cribbs from Kent State, averaging just over 81 yards rushing per game. He's done the job.
And when you watch this game, you'll see him take some vicious hits. He's one of the toughest quarterbacks I've ever seen, just on film.
On a 1st and 10 from the 42, here's the option. Patented play on the pitch, and a solid gainer for Divis on 1st down. He picks up 14, first play from scrimmage. Starting lineups presented by Jeep, and up front for the midshipmen, Stahl, Phillips, Rossi, Roich, and Brown. Rossi is the sophomore, the rest are seniors. Kyle Eckel, got some pro scouts in attendance here for the big fullback, joined by Divis, Roberts, Wesley, and Tomlinson. Legitimate pro prospect, Eckel All-American candidate. On 1st down, inside Army territory, and there is the bruising style of Kyle Eckel. 6 yards straight up the gut for the midshipmen. Defensively for Army, they come in ranked last nationally in total defense, allowing 498.6 yards per game. Sullivan, Meyer, Lotson, Craig up front. Washington, the leading tackler in the nation, with Maimone and Campbell, the linebackers. And the secondary, Brewer, Daniels, Tarver, and Lewis. Experienced group. 2nd and 4. On the pitch, Roberts. Nowhere to go. Greg Washington. He has got a nose for the football. It's a loss of 4.
I'll tell you, defending this option is not easy. Although they only run about 6 plays, Ian, it's all the variables that come off of those 6 plays. And watch Aaron Polanco. He comes in, he's going to stick the ball into the fullback's belly, and then he's going to pitch it. And that's exactly what Army has to do. It's open field tackling. We talked to Mumford, the defensive coordinator of Army. He told us that Washington is a very good open field tackle. He's going to be very busy today.
Greg Washington, double figures in tackles in all 10 games. On 3rd down. Spun down. Will Sullivan, a fiery leader on this Army defense, with a sack.
Well, was there a guy more confident than Will Sullivan this week? Watch the top of your screen. Here's the pass rush inside and outside. Sullivan coming off the outside and wraps up Polanco. Now, Navy doesn't have a great passing game, and and that's exactly the type of situation you want to get him in.
Recruited by all 3 service academies, West Point just felt right to Sullivan. It's a loss of 12. And the punt, DJ Blackledge returning, Eric Shuey the punter. And Blackledge backpedals, takes a roll inside the 10 and touched up at the 6-yard line. Navy, good coverage. Marco Nelson able to get down the field, the speedy junior. Will step aside after the 49-yard punt. No score, Army, Navy. Come back to Lincoln Financial Field in a moment. Army-Navy on CBS. Pictures of 9 respective academies. 12:02 mark here in the first quarter. A lot of passion felt globally. On the pitch, Carlton Jones can't handle it. Trying to get out of the end zone. Did he? David Mahoney made the stop. Looked like he was able to just squeeze through.
Yeah, I think Carlton Jones is looking up before he's looking for the ball. He's trying to find a place to run, and the pitch was okay. He's just got to put it away and try to get inside there. But he does a smart thing, gets the ball and gets out of the end zone. Army's offense a little nervous, obviously. Their defense has got to feel pretty good about themselves shutting down that high-powered Navy offense that first series, however.
They were that close to a 2-0 Navy lead as Jones got to the 1-yard line. A 2nd and 15 now for the Black Knights. They will run it. Carlton Jones trying to cut to the outside, stays on his feet. And that second effort got him a gain of 3. Vaughn Kelly came up in run support from the cornerback position, the native of...
If he was going to play or not, he has a mild groin strain that he hurt a few weeks back. I think it was against UAB, but you know, he was emphatic about, I am healthy, I am ready to go. And when you talk to these young men about this game, they are not going to miss it. They want to be here in the worst way.
Jones lost his shoe, so he's forced to the sideline. Seth Goldsby steps in, the junior.
Can't throw an interception here if you're Zach Dahman. No mistakes in your own zone.
3 wide receivers set on a 3rd and 12, and the play whistle dead. Our referee today, Jack Childress, the ACC crew, and a timeout has been taken by Navy at the 10:32 mark, first quarter. Army faces a 3rd and long when we return to Philly. This Navy, and they're headed to their 2nd consecutive bowl game. Having a problem with his headset right now. That's the top priority.
If they win this game, it will be 9 wins, and it will be the first time that they've done that since 1963, when the great Roger Staubach was the Heisman Trophy winner here at the Naval Academy. And a terrific accomplishment by Paul Johnson has really set this program on a path of greatness. I mean, you can't underestimate what he's been able to do in the last 3 years.
On a 3rd and 12 for Army. Carlton Jones is back in there. They took care of his shoe deep in their own territory. The Black Knights on 3rd down. Dahman looking to throw, feeling pressure on the flip for Jones. Jones unable to shed tacklers, and he is brought down at the 5-yard line. It's a gain of 1. Josh Smith leading that charge for Navy.
And that's impressive ball hawking there by the Navy defense. Take a look at Zach Dahman in the pocket. Hey, just standing right in there, showing good poise, and then does the right thing, drops the ball up. But watch the Navy defenders just come flying to the football. That's what you love to see when you're the defensive coordinator.
Jason Tomlinson, 2nd opportunity today to return a punt from Tom Dyrenforth. Standing just about at the end line. And Dyrenforth, high punt, allowing his team to get down the field. Contact made and a flag down. Fair catch was called for by Tomlinson. And Brent McCorkle, the snapper, getting into the face of the return man. So the call made against Army with that contact from McCorkle, a little bit overzealous.
You know, it's kind of questionable. I understand why you call it, but the fair catch signal went up a little bit late right there, and it's almost impossible to stop. You know, that's one thing that Bobby Ross is not going to tolerate. He hates penalties. He hates mistakes like this, and look at that. Pretty tough. That's a pretty tough penalty to call right there.
Set the football at the 24.
Worse than that.
24-yard line to start this drive for the Naval Academy. 9:41 to go in the first. Here's Polanco on the give. First man through, Kyle Eckel. And he picks up a yard. Let's talk about the possibilities of Eckel continuing his football career as a flag is thrown. He's a Philadelphia native, just about 4 blocks from here. He grew up from Lincoln Financial Field. And Jack Childress once again. Offsides against Army. Tell me about Eckel. What's the breakdown?
Well, I talked to a San Francisco 49er scout just before who was here at this game, and also a New York Jet executive that is here scouting this game. Both of them feel like he's a draftable player, probably middle to late rounds. The question will be, does he want to do that? And you want to know something? He does want to play professional football. That's exactly what he told us.
On a 1st and 5 for Navy. On the give, it's Eckel again. And just about everybody involved for Army defensively as he picks up 2 yards up the middle. He was the MVP in last year's Army-Navy game with 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. And take a look at some of the names on that list for Eckel among career leaders in touchdowns at Navy.
That's some pretty good names there, don't you think? And at 5'11", 240 pounds, he told us that he ran a 4.55 40. If that's the case, he's definitely draftable, and he's definitely NFL material.
Now a 2nd and 3. More of Eckel carrying a tackler on his shoulders. Matt Maimone was unable to bring him down as Eckel busts through the middle. And a 1st down for Navy.
Well, we were talking to John Mumford, the defense coordinator for Army. We said, okay, what are the keys to stopping this defense? It's the fullback. You have to stop him first. Look at the blocking. Look at the cut blocks. Guys are on the ground, and Bobby Ross told us they love to cut. They love to get guys on the ground, and Eckel is not going to be denied.
On a 1st and goal inside the 10, it's Eckel again. Kyle Eckel inside the 5. Tommy Ryan grabbed him by his ankles. A 3-yard gain for the senior from Haverford.
Kyle was telling us how he's going to have between 30 and 50 tickets for today. He actually said it's really limitless. I just can't afford all of these tickets. He's a hometown hero here, and obviously wanting to make a statement in this game, his final Army-Navy game here in Philadelphia.
On a 2nd and goal now for Navy, looking to take the lead under 8 minutes to go in the first. Long count for Polanco. Trying to pitch it, Polanco, a spin move. He kept it himself. The wise decision as Army was all over that option. Seth Lotz, first man there.
Now, the interesting thing about Navy's offense, they don't have tight ends. They have slot backs. And Polanco's got a read right there. Probably should have handed it off to Eckel that time as Will Sullivan came up and made the initial hit, but not easy for Aaron Polanco. He's got to read those defensive ends. He's got to make split-second decisions. For the most part, he's right on.
On a 3rd and goal inside the 5. The toss. Eric Roberts looking to go wide and spilled out along the sideline. Caleb Campbell down there, the whip, as they call it in this Army defense. He's the freshman from Perryton, Texas.
This is a win for the Army, given the fact of where this field position started for Navy. To get down here, to hold them here, and to push everybody to the sideline again. You could see, and this is what Bobby Ross was telling us, last year when he got here, he looked at 2 films, Navy and Air Force versus Army, because he knew that would be the highest emotional state that his team would have been in, so he'd get a real good feeling for them. And you can see right here in this game, that's exactly the emotional state that they're playing with right now.
Big play early, 4th down. They're going for it on a 4th and goal. Play clock had hit 0. Polanco was trying to draw Army into a mistake.
But to go back to that point again, Bobby Ross was saying when he took this job over, he wanted to see how his players looked at their highest state of emotion and passion. And obviously Air Force and Navy were going to bring the most out of his particular football team. And what he saw were guys on the ground, guys having trouble getting off the ground. So they instituted an agility program in the winter. And what you saw there in that last 3rd down play were guys running to the football, not getting up off the ground, staying away from the blocks.
After the 5-yard penalty off the delay. A 24-yard field goal attempt for Jeff Blumenfeld. Trying to put Navy in front. Blumenfeld's kick. No good. He missed it from 24 yards away. Now just 3 of 10 on the season in field goal attempts. And Navy comes up empty. Army's defense did its job, not allowing the touchdown, and then the bad snap led to the missed field goal. Ball just the 56 to go in the first quarter. President Bush on hand here in Philadelphia. Just adding to the spectacle that is Army-Navy. 5:56 to go in the first.
Now in the first half he's going to sit on the Army side, and in the second half they'll clearly come over to the Navy side. The commander-in-chief, you know, you can't have his favorites.
Got to balance it out. A 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line for Army. Handoff. Carlton Jones looking for a lane. And he picks up 6 yards on first down. Good block by Adam Wojcik on that left side. Get complete coverage from all of today's games and read Dennis Dodd's take on the hottest topics in college football. It's all at CBSSportsline.com.
That was a heck of a block by Tyler Robinson also at fullback. And it's a nice little tandem Army's got in the backfield.
Mr. Inside Robinson, Mr. Outside Jones, and a 2nd and 4 for the Black Knights. Keep it on the ground. This time first man through, Tyler Robinson. You can see the strength of Robinson, 5'11", 220 pounds, the sophomore from Greenwich, Connecticut. It's a 5-yard gain.
We were asking Carlton Jones which was more impressive, your 5 touchdowns or Robinson's 5 touchdowns, and which made you happier. And of course Carlton Jones said, this guy right here, his 5 touchdowns made me happier. And that's what you get from every cadet, every midshipman. They'll tell you that they're so happy for their teammates, and that's what the brotherhood's all about.
Robinson had 5 touchdowns against Cincinnati, a victory, their first of the season, snapping a 19-game losing streak on 1st and 10. Handoff to Jones, and he finds an open lane for a gain of 5.
What you're starting to see is Bobby Ross and his son Kevin Ross, the offense coordinator, doing what they said they would do when they got to Army, and that is be more fundamentally sound, running the football, staying with the run, keeping the game close this way, and play action passing. Sooner or later that's going to come, and you're going to see Zach Dahman out on the outside trying to hit a flat pattern or somebody down the sideline.
A lot more balance on the offensive side of the ball this season for Army. They were pass happy last year, led to an 0-13 season. 2nd and 5, 3 receivers set for Dahman from the 36. A movement. Flag down. Carlton Jones able to take the opening and cross the 40-yard line. Lane Jackson in on that stop. It's another 5-yard gain.
This will be on Navy, and it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if Jones got the first down. If he didn't, Navy will be penalized, and I would assume that Army would take the penalty and keep the down. So it should be 2nd and short here, because I don't think a penalty will get them a first down. But you know, talking to Bobby Ross and listening to him.
Offsides, number 93 of the defense. That penalty is refused. The yardage results in a first down.
All right, it is a first down, so there you go. But, you know, I saw a fire in his eye that I saw some, I guess 20 years ago.
You didn't want to do that math.
I didn't want to do the math, but the feeling is that he can make you overachieve, and that's what all of these guys in this field are. They're all overachievers. That's why they go to the academy.
Ross does have a military background, graduated from VMI, served 2 years in the Army, and then coached the Citadel. On a 1st and 10, this drive continues. A little trickery on the end around. Corey Anderson busting to the outside, and Anderson has it in Navy territory. Pushed out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line.
Well, we just talked about Navy and their defense flow into the football, and I'm sure that Kevin Ross has seen that from his spot up in the coach's box, and he says, okay, they're overflowing. Let's see if we can come back with a reverse. The good call, perfect timing, nice blocking. Zach Dahman actually ran past the player right there that he could have hit, but watch the Navy defense flow over the top and get caught inside. Dahman does make a nice block at the end there, however.
Anderson, a freshman from Tampa, Florida, came out of the Army Prep School, USMA. Interesting storyline that we'll talk about today. On 1st and 10, Dahman throwing out of the pocket and deflected. Looked like he had Aaron Alexander open, just could not find him. It'll be 2nd and 10 for Army.
He really did, and Bobby McLaren, the inside linebacker, did a nice job of reading the eyes of Zach Dahman. He jumped up and deflected the football. That would have been a huge play. You know, it's interesting talking to these linebackers on both sides of I mean, they are perfect. I mean, each one of the linebackers for both squads are the quintessential linebacking type personality.
They're from Central Casper. No? On a 2nd and 10. Line of scrimmage just shy of the 40-yard line. Play clock winding down. Bauman hands it off. Carlton Jones trying to get to the edge. Turns it upfield and accelerates out across the 35. Jones making a move. Reggie Seeley slid down to take him down, the senior. It's a gain of 6 on the ground for Army.
Interesting, last year when we were doing this game, Ian, Bobby Ross, and his wife Alice were sitting down in their home in Richmond, Virginia, watching this game. And Alice, Bobby's wife, says, you know, it's your patriotic duty to go coach that football team.
Yeah, there were rumblings at that point that they were interested in Ross.
And Ross decided, you know what, this would be a great place to coach, and Army is certainly happy to have it.
3rd and 4. Little pitch on the toss. Right up the middle to Carlton Jones, and Navy was not fooled. Seeley combining with Jeremy Chase, the junior from Norfolk, Virginia.
And Jeremy Chase was not fooled as he comes off the end here. Watch this. He's looking in the backfield. He sees the play, redirects, and makes the tackle. And Jeremy Chase is doing this coming off of a left dislocation of his shoulder. And you could see the wrap right there underneath the left arm pad, holding it all in place. You think this game needs a few things to these guys?
Sure does. 4th and 3. They could have attempted a 51-yard field goal. That's not realistic for Army, so they'll go for it. On 4th down. Handoff. Can Jones get the first down? No. Stonewall at the 33-yard line by Josh Smith, along with Jeremy McGowan.
If there's one area which these academies really struggle in, is the kicking game, the field goals. And this is what happens when you struggle with field goals. You have to go for 4th and plays that you probably wouldn't go for. And watch the defense of Navy just swarm to the football. I'll tell you, it's the first time I've seen them in person, and they are impressive, the way that they arrive at the football and gang tackle.
So Navy takes over on downs from the 33-yard line. Inside handoff, Kyle Eckel. And again, not much room to work with. This Army defense much improved from the one we saw a year ago, where Eckel just sliced through the defense, mostly up the middle, where they just couldn't bring him down.
Remember, John Mumford, their defense coordinator, was the interim head coach here last year after Todd Berry was fired, and we asked him about stopping this run with your 115th run defense. He said, we're much better this year than we were last year, I can guarantee you.
2nd and 9, the pitch. Big play. Eric Roberts busting to the clear. Here's Roberts across the 30, looking for an angle. And brought down to the 22 by Jonathan Lewis. Eric Roberts has not been as big a factor this year in the Navy offense, but the slot back is very explosive.
I guess I might have spoken a little too quickly, but this is what this triple option does to you. You are so focused on Kyle Eckel and Aaron Polanco. He comes around the corner, makes a nice pitch to Roberts. Roberts cuts all the way back. You know, and to see guys with this type of speed is something that you don't normally see at these academies, and that's where these players now are starting to get to because of these two head coaches.
44-yard rip with 1 minute to go in the first. On a first down, Eckel inside run. And Eckel able to pick up 4 yards on the play. Think about the versatility when you have Eckel with his big physical style inside, Roberts, who is the first man in Navy history to top the 1,000-yard mark in career rushing and receiving within the perimeter.
And if you're Army, what you have to watch out for here right now is a play-action pass in the red zone after a long run.
On a 2nd and 6. Keep it on the ground. Eckel with a flag down. Tommy Ryan, the junior from Seminole, Florida, in on the stop for Army. Penalty marker on the play. Another mistake for the Black Knights.
I'm sure Bobby Ross doesn't make those mistakes, but you know, go back to the Navy offense here. You know, Paul Johnson's the guy calling the plays. He's down on the sideline. He knows what's going on. He can sense the feel of the game. And you know, usually after a big run or a big turnover, he's going to come out and he's going to give you that same look, that same triple option look, and then Aaron Polanco is going to stick it in the belly, drop back, and throw it over the top.
Number 98 of the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. It will be second down.
Well, Will Sullivan, we had a chance to speak with Sullivan earlier this week. So much emotion and fire, you could tell it was just beaming out of him. He won the Black Knight Award, which means that he has put the team first. He is a selfless player, as the coaching staff decided. 8 seconds left in the first. Fake the handoff to Eckel. Polanco nearly lost his footing and able to fight his way for a first down. Matt Maimone in on the stop for Army. And time has run out here in the first quarter. Army and Navy, no score at Lincoln Financial Field. We'll return to Philadelphia after this message and a word from your local station.
Monday night at 6.
It's college athletics in its purest form as we welcome you back to Army-Navy, start of the second quarter here in Philadelphia. Ian Eagle, Google Esiason, Dwayne Ballin, our entire CBS crew. Navy knocking on the door with a 1st and 10 just outside the 10, so they still can get a first down. Army's defense was able to hold once. Can they do it again? First play of this second quarter. Eric Roberts lines up in the slot. And the run by Polanco. Driven backwards. Not fooling anyone. They'll give him a gain of 1 on forward progress.
Remember last year when we did this game, Army came in here with a 50 defense, meaning a nose tackle in there and 2 defensive ends. Now they go to a 4-3. They got 2 defensive tackles right in the middle of the field. You can see right there, one of those guys, number 92, Tommy Ryan, making the play at the point of attack.
And a 2nd and 9, able to move the ball just a bit on second down. Freeze option. Polanco will take it himself for the Navy touchdown.
Well, what a terrific play by Aaron Polanco. They start one way. It's a freeze option, but it's also a counter option. You think they're going to go to the defense's left. They start one way, come back the other. And Polanco, this is the ability that he brings to this position for this type of offense. And that's the feel, to find the hole and to make the run for the touchdown. A terrific play by Aaron Polanco.
His career ambition is to be a pilot, preferably in the Marine Corps. And he just soared into the end zone for Navy. Extra point, Jeff Blumenfeld. Those are no guarantees, as we know in this game. Polanco puts Navy on the board. The midshipmen strike first. Yards for the touchdown. Lifted to a 7-0 lead early stages second quarter.
There they are on the Army bench over there talking about defense. What just happened to us? They started one way and came back the other way, and it's a pretty good block, and then we'll show you right after the kick here, and you'll see just how difficult it is to defend this Navy triple option that goes many different ways and has so many variables coming off of it.
They had 613 yards of total offense against Rutgers, a 54-21 win back in November. Blumenfeld on the kickoff. Scott Wesley is deep. Going to take it out of the end zone. Here's Wesley out across the 15 and then ridden down at the 16-yard line.
Let's take a look at that last touchdown. Kyle Eckel, the fullback's going to come here. Polanco's going to turn this way. Roberts is going to go in, and then they're all going to come back. And watch the block by Roberts. Right here, you'll see 3 Army defenders all get hooked up in there. Polanco does a great job of reading the defense, finding the hole, and just making a play. And that's exactly what playmakers like Aaron Polanco, that's how they kill you. They just do it intuitively.
13th rushing touchdown of the season for Polanco, stepping in for the graduating Craig Candido, MVP of this game 2 years ago. On first down for Army. Play action. Dahlman throwing to a spot, almost picked off. Josh Smith, who 1 year ago was watching this game in a hotel room here in Philadelphia after having his appendix taken out. He made the play.
Remember how disappointed he was. He was telling us it was just one of the tougher days of his life, but Dahlman comes back, set your feet, and you got to throw it. Try not to stare the the potential receiver down, and Smith reads the eyes of Daman perfectly. That's the second time that Army's had a guy open behind the first level of defenders. And those underneath defenders are making nice plays deflecting the football.
Daman so far, 2 of 6, just 2 yards passing. 2nd and 10 for Army, trailing 7-0 from the 16. Daman on the handoff. Jones turning it upfield and out across the 20-yard line. That's a strong 8-yard gain for Carlton Jones, the native of Henderson, North Carolina. You can tell he's got good vision, very quick feet. He's led the Black Knights in rushing now the last 3 years.
Coming into this game, 1,171 yards in 10 games. That's pretty impressive. Nice kid, coming off of a little bit of a groin injury, who said he was not going to miss this football game.
And he sets up a 3rd and 2 now for Army.
I say kid, but these guys are men. Yeah. Let's face it.
On 3rd down. Play clock hit 0-0. And this play never happens. They had gotten to a 3rd and short situation. And another penalty marker.
We have a dead ball foul for delay of game, number 7 of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
They put that right on Zach Daman, the quarterback, and rightfully so. The quarterback's got to be aware of the clock at all times. First thing that you do when you get on a field that you haven't played on for a while is you find out where those 25-second clocks are, locate them, understand what's going on, and make sure you play to that clock.
So instead of the 3rd and 2, now a 3rd and 7. From a running situation to a passing situation for Daman. Flushed out of the pocket. Daman throwing on the run. Bobbled and almost intercepted. Vaughn Kelly had it. The senior was oh so close to his 2nd pick of the year.
Well, if you're a quarterback, you don't want to do this. Roll right, throw against your body. Vaughn Kelly almost makes the interception, and that interception would have been caused because of the penalty on the previous play. They probably would have run it. Zach Daman gets away with one there.
Another punt. Jason Tomlinson is waiting. Tom Dyron fourth. Junior from New Hampshire has a strong leg.
Oh, wow, nice kick.
Able to get rid of it quickly, and here's Tomlinson. Makes one move. Tomlinson to the 45. A stutter step to the perimeter. And Brett McCorkle, the snapper, comes down the field to make the play. But once again, excellent field position for Navy already with a 7-0 lead here in the 2nd quarter. CBS Sports coverage of the 105th Army-Navy game will continue.
Very good fit for it. It's very easy for me to come here because I really believe in the school. I believe in what it stands for. I believe in its mission. And I thought I'd have been a perfect natural for it.
And Boomer signed a 5-year contract, so the long-term commitment is there.
That and the fact that his wife Alice was sick and tired of watching him walk the dog without purpose. But you know, really, I have to tell you, he looks great. He is happy, and he is a perfect fit for it. You know, you don't have to worry about him springboarding this job to some other job. He's been at the top. He's been everywhere else. And he wants to make a difference in Army.
Does face a big challenge, though. Was able to get them into the win column this year. Army 2-8. 1st and 10 for Navy. Polanco throwing in stride. Frank Divis, the slot back.
And sooner or later, it's going to come. And that time, they were lucky that Divis didn't take it for a touchdown, as Polanco does a great job of faking in the backfield. All of these plays look the same to the defense, and the defense was telling us that it's all about the hats of the offensive line. If they stand up, it's a pass. If they don't, it's a run, but it's very hard to tell.
First pass of the day, they go back to the bread and butter, the ground game. And not much room there for Kyle Eckel. Greg Washington making the stop. Doug Meyer involved as well. First pass covers 19 yards. Polanco to Divis.
People will say it's a play-action pass, but really what it is a run-action pass. It looks like a run, and it sounds like a run, and then they throw it. There are no play-action passes in this offense.
2nd and 9. Here's Eckel, leaving his feet and able to hurdle his way for a gain of 4. Will Sullivan in there to make the stop for Army.
And as odd as this may sound, there's a sound on the field that when there's a running play coming, the defense can react to. They hear the collision between the offensive and defensive linemen. when there's a pass play, that collision doesn't take place. So the instincts of the defense tells it, well, it's a pass play, because they don't hear that collision sound. But because of this offense and their propensity to run and always make it sound like a run, it's very difficult for those safeties to play like that.
Now with 35 for the midshipman. Polanco throwing again. A little bit high for Lionel Wesley. They will go to 4th down. Delente Brewer. He's the senior from Dallas, Texas. Had coverage on the outside. 4th and 5 now for Navy.
And here we are in that kind of that weird situation that these academy teams find themselves in, where, you know, if you punt it, it's not going to really help you, especially if you punt it into the end zone. And the kicking game's a little bit suspect, so it forces your offense. You have to go for it. Army found itself in a situation in the first quarter. They were stopped. We'll see if Army can stop Navy right here.
On a 4th and 5. In no man's land, Polanco thrown and complete. He's got Tomlinson, who was thrown all the way back. We'll see where they spot the football. It's 6 yards. It's enough for a Navy first down.
Oh, he got the first down. There's no question about that. Just too far off of Tomlinson. Polanco pre-step and throws it. You got to play a lot closer. If you are Jonathan Lewis, you got to play closer to Tomlinson. You can't give him that type of free release. That's too much of a gimme.
Now Polanco doesn't throw it often, but efficient so far. 2 and 2 on a first down. Here's Eckel. Kyle Eckel straight up the middle for the touchdown. Navy builds on its lead. First touchdown from Polanco, and now Eckel gets in on it.
Well, he said he was a 4.55 guy in the 40-yard dash. He certainly showed it right there. As he takes it right up the middle. Oh, man.
Kyle Eckel, a huge Philadelphia Eagles fan, able to get a touchdown on the very field that they play on as Blumenfeld on for the extra point. A 6-play, 53-yard drive. They converted on 4th down, and the very next play, it's Kyle Eckel, virtually untouched for Pater. You've got to respond right now after Navy just took a 2-touchdown lead. Kyle Eckel is 11th rushing touchdown of the season for the midshipman.
Very difficult to tackle this young man with one arm, and that's exactly the position that Greg Washington found himself in as the defense tries to figure out how to stop this high-powered Navy offense that is finally starting to hit their stride. And now Army has got to respond. You know, momentum shifts in games, you know, can be tidal wave-like. And right now, Army is on the bottom of that tidal wave. They have to figure out a way to get in the end zone, beat up some clock, keep their defense on the sideline. Certainly, they have to put some points on the board.
Blumenfeld to kick it off. Scott Wesley did have a 97-yard kick return for a touchdown against Tulane, and Wesley is the deep end. This one comes up much shorter at the 20-yard line, and Wesley has nowhere to run. Let's go downstairs. Check in with Dwayne Ballard.
Ian, the unit that Boomer just talked about that has to respond is the Army offensive unit coached by Kevin Ross, a 1988 graduate of the Naval Academy. Now, he ran track at the Navy, and by his own admission, he told us that no one hated Army within the competitive context, hated Navy more than he did. But when his father said, come and work for me, he did. He's been called Benedict Ross by some of his former mates, and the guys at Army kid him and call him Skipper.
You know that he's getting ribbed. Week in and week out, especially this week prior to the Army-Navy game. Great connection between Kevin Ross and his dad, Bobby. 1st and 10 for Army. Running play, Carlton Jones through a hole, and Jones able to get it out across the 45-yard line for the Black Knights. Jeremy McGowan finally brings him down.
And what a block by left tackle Joel Glover. Watch this block. That's what you call a pancake block right there, my friends. And Carlton Jones, well, they've seen this quite a bit up at West Point, and this is exactly the type of spirit that you need to see from Army. Their offensive unit has to step up at this point.
24-yard run.
I know who that is.
You never want to be the goal, right? Isn't that what we're told in sports?
Exactly.
On a first down from the 48-yard line. Army on the move, trailing 14-0. Dahmen in the pocket. Soft toss over the middle to the 45. Jeremy Trimble the freshman from Ashburn, Virginia. His dad, former NFL defensive back Stephen Trimble, a guy you're familiar with.
Yeah, Steve and I played together at Maryland, at the University of Maryland, but Trimble will come right in, and he will sit right over the ball. He will declare that this is his zone. That's how he's reading it. He's going to turn his shoulders to Dahmen, and Dahmen's going to deliver the ball on time.
Trimble's got ability. Bobby Ross has high hopes for him over the next 3 seasons, getting experience as a plebe on a 2nd and 3 after the 7-yard pass play. Dahmen, draw play, Carlton Jones. And Jones pushed forward. He's got a first down for the Black Knights.
Interesting talking about Kevin Ross. When we met with him, he said he had a very odd situation that was starting to develop, and that was he didn't really know what to call his father when they were in meetings in front of everyone. You know, what would you call him, Coach? Do you call him Bobby? What do you call him?
Pop?
Well, he decided to do what he has done all his life, call him Daddy. And that's how he refers to Bobby Ross. And then Bobby Ross told us how proud he was.
On a 1st and 10 from the 42, Kevin Ross working upstairs behind the glass in the press box level. On a handoff, Tyler Robinson, 2 tight end set. So a big formation in a 4-yard gain for Robinson. He's done a nice job, versatile player. He can play tailback, but he has accepted his role as the fullback with his close friend Carlton Jones playing behind him in the backfield.
You say that like fullbacks accept their role, like
he wants the glory, just like everybody else, but he's accepted.
A fullback's glory is to open the hole for somebody else, believe me. Unless, of course, you're Kyle Eckel.
Exactly. Look, I've got my example right there on the field for him. On a 2nd and 6. Dahmen. Handoff. Jones is back in there for Army and spun down by Jeremy Chase. A 3-yard gain. Now, just talking about Zach Dahmen for a moment, you and I met with him last year and had that young look to him to the point where you couldn't believe that he was a college quarterback. He looked like Opie Taylor. Yeah, he looked like a high school
He looked like Opie Taylor, so he looked like.
Right, if you're going to get
before he got to high school. Before he got to high school.
What about this year?
He doesn't look like Opie Taylor anymore, and a lot of that, the reason for that is because Bobby Ross has instituted a policy where these guys can actually take food back to their dorm with them after practice. I mean, he has really grown in to being a fine young man.
Gone from Opie Taylor to Richie Cunningham. Yeah, we've seen the transformation in just 1 year. On a 3rd and 3. Robinson, did he get enough for the first down? He did. Twisting his way to the 30-yard line. Bobby McLaren, the inside linebacker, sliding over to make the stop. David Mahoney involved as well.
And the interesting thing about Dahmen is that he didn't start the season as the starting quarterback. He didn't take over until the 4th game. And take a look at these numbers compared to last year. The big number really is this one right here. It's the interceptions. I mean, last year they were turning the ball over and giving opposing teams a short field to score upon. And this year, that's the big difference. You just don't make the big mistake.
Critical possession here for Army, trying to get back into it, trailing 14-0. Good drive. 1st and 10 from the 30. Play fake. Dahmen knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Akinbemi, the senior from Rialto, California, came to Navy as a linebacker and has been able to find his way to the nose guard position.
You hear about games on the defensive line. Watch the nose tackle, Akinbemi. He goes all the way to the left around the outside and reads perfectly Dahmen's release. Goes up and makes a nice play.
He has shown so much improvement during his 4 years at the Naval Academy. Economics major. Bright young man. Had a chance to meet with him earlier this week. 2nd and 10 for Army. Slipping down Robinson. Nobody was near him. It's a loss of 2 on the play. More on Akinbemi. His grandfather was in the Army, and his dad thought this would be the best situation for him. Military. He didn't know much about it, admittedly, and had some second thoughts when he got here, but has fit in quite nicely.
And he wasn't quite this big when he first got here. He was an outside linebacker, and then he became a defensive end, and now he's right down where he says the sloppy guys are.
He's one of them. He doesn't want to admit it.
He's one of those sloppy guys. He's right in the middle of the field, and he's there for a reason. That's to stop the run.
Reggie Neville, the former quarterback, checks in as a wide receiver for Army on a 3rd and 12. Dahmen in the pocket. Here comes the rush. Dahmen throws low. Incomplete. Carlton Jones was in the vicinity, but Dahmen was just looking to get rid of it with that heat up the middle.
Well, that's the second time today that they've tried to throw a screen pass to Jones, and neither one has materialized. The offensive linemen are out there, but Jones is getting lost. Looks like the defense is either grabbing him or he's too far inside, and Dahmen can't find him.
Timeout. Army has taken its first at the 6:32 mark of the second quarter. Navy's got the 14-0 lead on 6:32. Black Knights.
Not really what you want to have happen if you're Army, but I think what this kind of shows you, I think if the game were close, Bobby would probably punt it, but he realizes too that this Navy offense is becoming more and more difficult to stop as this game has gone on. So he's got to do something here, and he's got to try to make a first down. And this is not an easy spot for the Black Knights to find themselves in, but I think Bobby recognizes clearly that his defense has struggled the last few times on the field.
The last Army coach to defeat Navy in his first year with the Black Knights, Tom Cahill, did it back in 1966. This is the 115th year of Army football, one winning season, just one over the last decade. Navy enjoying this incredible rebuilding process that Paul Johnson has put this program through. 8-2. And off to the Emerald Bowl in San Francisco on December 30th. This is a 4th and 12 for Army. 6:32 to play in the second quarter. Jones in the backfield. Here's Dahmen. Straight back. Rush coming. Dahmen stays on his feet. Dahmen intercepted. He floated it up there, and Josh Smith will go in untouched for the touchdown.
Oh, and what a play by Josh Smith, and what a mistake by Zach Dahmen, but it's 4th and 12, and Zach Dahmen knows as we watch Josh Smith come off the field, Zach Dahmen knows that he has to throw the football.
What a moment for the senior from Attica, Indiana. Josh Smith was not even on the depth chart when Paul Johnson got this job 3 years ago. And Smith takes it the distance, 66 yards off the interception for the touchdown. Blumenfeld the extra point. Oh, what a sequence. Dahmen just trying to make a play for the Black Knights, and instead he makes a big mistake. Josh Smith able to streak the other way for the 66-yard score. Navy builds its lead to 21-0. Navy radio exploits on the football field.
I don't know if they were listening to it, but I'll tell you what, watching it and seeing it, it was a pretty impressive play by Josh Smith. And as I was saying, Zach Dahmen had no choice other than to try to make a play. That's the loneliest feeling that a quarterback can have right there, throwing an interception for a touchdown. And just it's a nightmare.
All right, now it's a 21-0 nightmare for Army. 6:18 to go here in the first half. Blumenfeld the kick. Scott Wesley, a busy man today as Wesley able to get through a hole out across the 25-yard line. They will have it at the 26. Jacob Biles on special teams able to make the stop for Navy. Smith wants to be a Navy pilot. Recognizes the fact that he's going to have to go down to Pensacola, Florida, train down there. He'd still like to coach, though, here at the Naval Academy as a graduate assistant. I have a strange suspicion he's got some connections. Might be able to get that gig.
Well, with plays like that, you can understand that he sees the field pretty good and probably would make a good coach.
Now, right now, Army is just looking for some points before the break. Handoff, Carlton Jones, able to bring a Navy player or two with him, as Troy and Beer provided good blocking up front. 6-yard game. Monday on The Late Show, Dave welcomes Renee Zellweger. And later this week, don't miss Tom Hanks, John Travolta, Salma Hayek, and Jerry Seinfeld, an all-star group, all day, all this week. Navy's got a lot to cheer about right now. They have dominated Army each of the last 2 years. Last season, convincing win, 34-6. Back in 02, 58-12. On second down, Jones. Quick tackle from Seeley, combining with Jeremy Chase. No gain on the play for Army.
And And with Army unable to throw the football, Navy is now really crowding the line of scrimmage. They realize that target number one for the Naval Academy is Carlton Jones. They do not want to let him get free on a long run, and they want to put the pressure right on Zach Dahman's shoulders, and until he proves that he can handle it, that's the way the game's going to go for him.
Jones, most rushing touchdowns in a season ever for Army. Got a big hit. 17 touchdowns on the ground. This is third down. Dahman throwing. He was on his way down, and a flag comes down. Vaughn Kelly applying that pressure on Zach Dahman. And maybe some contact as Dahman got rid of the football. Jack Childress, ACC crew.
Holding number 67 of the offense. That penalty is refused. Fourth down.
That's Pete Beer, the junior. Janesville, Wisconsin, academic All-American. Second year as a starter and called on the penalty, which was turned down. So Army will punt it.
When you say Vaughn Kelly put the pressure on Zach Dahman, that means that Buddy Green is bringing a blitz from the cornerback situation. So Buddy Green, the defense coordinator of Navy, not resting for a moment.
Tom Dyrenforth will kick it away to Jason Tomlinson. Tom's brother David, a 2000 graduate of the U.S. Military Academy. And Tomlinson off the back pedal, trying to weave his way through traffic as he crosses the 35-yard line. Just in time for the holidays, an original movie for the whole family. Joe Mantegna, Gene Smart, and Charles Durning star in A Very Merry Christmas. Sunday at 9, 8 Central, right here on CBS, America's most watched network. Well, it's been senior day here for Navy. If you take a look at what Polanco has done. Kyle Eckel and Josh Smith, all three with touchdowns, all three seniors. Handoff to Eckel. Out across the 40-yard line. He picks up 4 yards. Tommy Ryan making the tackle. 4 yards to Eckel. Doesn't seem to be much of a problem. He gets 4 yards without much effort.
And that's why he is possibly going to be an NFL football player when he gets an opportunity. Now, the thing about here for Army, they have to create a turnover, Ian. They can't allow this Navy offense to go right down the field again.
Tommy Ryan injured off to the sideline for Army on the option. Eric Roberts thrown down by Matt Mamone. He is the senior from Orinda, California. Been a hard worker. Very impressed the coaching staff in the spring. And Bobby Ross able to find a spot for Mamone at the middle linebacker position, a loss of 1.
Important for Coach Ross to have great senior leadership. You know, everywhere he's gone, there's always been players that are left there from the previous regime, and he has to be able to count on those guys to lead by example. And Mamone has been a prime example of one of those types of players.
Now a 3rd and 7. On the roll, Polanco stops. Polanco looking for a hole. He's got one. Aaron Polanco crossing midfield as he was chased down by Seth Lotz. And that's all Polanco, 11 yards and a new set of downs to work with.
That's just being spontaneous, rolling to his left, seeing coverage down the field, can't find an open receiver. Well, what do? You run with the football, you make a first down. And one thing about Aaron Polanco that we have seen, and we have seen throughout this season, he is a playmaker at the most important position on offense.
Had a 179-yard rushing day against Rice, and this is a first down. Back to throw it. Timing play. Up top. Great attempt by Roberts. Almost a one-handed stab. It's incomplete. Deion Tarver in on coverage. The seniors for Navy. Aaron Polanco got Navy on the board. Kyle Eckel able to contribute straight up the middle for Navy. And then on the return, off the interception, Josh Smith streaking 66 yards for the midshipman. 2nd and 10 for Navy. Straight back. Polanco airing it out over the middle. Great grab. Lionel Wesley, the senior from Duncanville, Texas. Over the head of Delente Brewer, and Polanco dropped it in the bucket.
What is this, 3 pass plays in a row that was called by Paul Johnson? Polanco throws it right down the middle of the field, and what a terrific catch by Wesley as he turns around his coverage man, Delonte Brewer. A perfectly thrown ball.
And it sets up a 1st and 10 at the 12. And off. Eckel. Straight ahead for 3. And Greg Washington again in on the stop for Army. 2:22 remaining in the first half. Navy already with a big lead, 21-0, and a chance to add to it. Great grab by Wesley, English major. Been a hard worker for this midshipman program, and he showed off his good hands on that catch. 2nd and 7 now. On the toss, it's Eckel trying to cut to the outside. That's not an area that Eckel normally drifts into, but Army was ready for it along the perimeter. Greg Washington scoped it out.
On that long touchdown run that Eckel had, he kind of ran through an arm tackle by Greg Washington, who was fighting off one of the big offensive linemen for Navy. But that time, Washington, one of the best tacklers in the country, wraps up Kyle Eckel and takes him right to the ground. And that's exactly what Bobby Ross was telling us. Open field tackles were going to be the key in this game, and Washington found one right there and made the play.
3rd and 9 now for Navy. Down to 1:20 to go, first half. Polanco looking to throw for it. Steps up. Polanco throwing on the run. Touchdown! Mick Yakaitis. The junior from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. His first touchdown of the season. Navy an extra point away from a 28-0 cushion. Very similar script that the midshipmen are following. Each of the last 2 years have been lopsided in Navy's favor. Blumenfeld tacks on the extra point. All 28 of the points coming in the second quarter. Polanco earlier did it with his legs. This time he does it with his arm for Navy. Exactly, great time.
After the second half, I guess they'll move to the side of the Navy part of the stadium here in the second half, and a few more smiles on this side of the stadium. I'm sure
a bit more jovial as President Bush shifts over to Navy's side on the second half. As Yakaitis with a 12-yard touchdown catch. Army again on the short end of a rout against Navy. 1:15 to go in this second quarter. 28-0. Midshipman. Blumenfeld to kick it off. Scott Wesley is waiting. He will take it from the 3. And Wesley stays on his feet as he crosses the 30-yard line and just shy of the 35. That's a 30-yard return. The senior leaders, the experience is showing through this afternoon.
Remember, this is their last Army-Navy game, and when we were talking to all 3 of these guys, you could see the fire in their eyes, that how much they wanted to leave a mark on this particular game and how they wanted to leave with a good taste in their mouth. I think right now, Aaron Polanco has set the tone for the entire Navy team. He's having a fantastic game.
And Polanco told us he wanted to beat Army badly, but afterwards there are no grudges. First down, Dahman throwing complete. Aaron Alexander. And he is angled out of bounds. Dahman has been trying to hook up with Alexander throughout the day. That is a 15-yard pass play for the Black Knights.
Well, I've been in a halftime with Bobby Ross, and we've been down a few times, and he will lay into these players. He will not stand for this, and he has a way of making players overachieve, and I'm sure that in the second half we will see a completely different Army team.
Out near midfield, the 1st and 10 out of the shotgun. Dahman. Dahman flushed out. Dahman pump fake, will take it himself and scoots out of bounds. It's a 5-yard run, just short of a first down, as Dahman was trying to make a move upfield. 53 seconds left.
When I think back to 1984, I was a rookie with the Cincinnati Bengals, and my college roommate, my former college roommate, Frank Reich, was the quarterback for the University of Maryland Terrapins, and they were down, I believe it was 31-0 to the Miami Hurricanes, and Bobby Ross threatened them at halftime that if you don't come back and show that you are a good football team, we will go back to Berg Stadium in Maryland, turn the lights on, and we will run a sprint for every point we lose by.
On 2nd and 5, big play. It's Ulikowski, the tight end, finally brought down inside the 20 by the safety DeJuan Price. 45 seconds remain in this first half.
Zach Thomas does a good job looking left, then comes back right and throws the ball quickly. That's exactly how you're supposed to do it as a quarterback. And now Army gets into their 2-minute no-huddle offense.
Longest catch of the season for Ulikowski, 30 yards. Here's Dahmen. Dahmen walks the tightrope along the sideline, and Dahmen's making some plays with his legs.
There comes a time, Ian, in a game where you've had enough. And I think the Army players have had enough. And Zach Dahmen has had enough. And he has to start playing and making plays. A very important sequence right here. If they can get some momentum going into the locker room.
8-yard tuck and run for Dahmen and a timeout.
Every option. You can still run it because of your timeouts. Certainly you can throw it in the way that Zach Dahmen has played this last series here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a spontaneous play or two. I think that he's fed up. I think he's fed up with the performance of his offense because every play is a reflection of the quarterback. And now it's time for him to inspire his mates into the end zone. 2nd and 2,
3-receiver set. Jones in the backfield, out of the shotgun, Dahmen. Dahmen throwing, low throw, and it's handled nicely out there by Ulikowski. It's a 3-yard gain and a first down for Army with 28 seconds to play. First half.
Ulikowski making some nice plays. Not easy for a tight end running to the sideline to turn around and catch the ball at ankle level, but a nice catch right there by Army's big tight end.
Junior from Katy, Texas. His father, Mike, graduated from the U.S. Military Academy back in 1975. Grandfather in the Air Force. Other grandfather served in the U.S. Army. This is a 1st and goal for the Black Knights out of the shotgun. Dahmen looking to get Army on the board. Fires for the touchdown. The freshman, Jeremy Trimble. Army gets some points before the halftime break.
This play is made by the offensive line of Army that gives Zach Dahmen, the quarterback, plenty of time to survey the field. And as Jeremy Trimble gets into the back of the end zone, Dahmen fires a seed back there. And now all of a sudden, the Army quarterback playing with a little bit more confidence.
On for the extra point, Justin Koenig. Koenig is the sophomore from Pennsylvania. Austin Miller has handled the kicking duties most of the season and giving the youngster Koenig an opportunity as well. Matt Silva will hold it. And the extra point is through. Dahmen to Trimble. First touchdown of the day for Army. Navy still with a big lead, 28-7, late second quarter.
As I think the of the way that we've played, the new attitude that we have here, at least in that last series, that young man right there, Zach Dahmen, showed the spirit that Bobby Ross is trying to get from every player in that uniform.
Bobby Ross tried Reggie Nevels at the QB position. Matt Silva was a possibility, and then Dahmen in game 4 reemerged as the starter. Austin Miller kicking it off. And Navy back on the return. Anthony Piccioni with a 19-yard return for the midshipmen. Coming up Sunday on CBS, it begins with 60 Minutes, an interview with Bob Dylan, followed by Cold Case. Then, Joe Mantegna, Gene Smart star in the original holiday movie, A Very Merry Christmas. That's Sunday here on CBS, America's most watched network.
Bob Dylan's actually given an interview?
Yeah, that's a bit of a surprise.
He doesn't give very many interviews, does he?
Have to check that out Sunday here on CBS. 13 seconds to play, first half. Aaron Polanco trying to drive forward. Cameron Craig makes the tackle after the 3-yard gain from the Navy quarterback, and that will do it. Senior leadership for Navy, but Army does get the touchdown before we hit the break. Navy with the 28-7 lead over Army, looking for 3 wins in a row against the Black Knights. Downstairs we go, and Dwayne Ballard.
Coach Johnson, that second quarter, you dominated except for the last minute. Are you concerned about momentum?
Well, at the last, certainly we'd rather them not have scored at the end, but we've got to go back in. We can play better than we played. We need to be more consistent. We're not rushing the passer on defense. And offensively, we need to try to get the running game going better. But all in all, 28-7, I'm happy where we are. If we can play that way in the second half, it'll be good. We realize there's still 30 minutes to go.
Thank you, Coach. Ian?
All right, Dwayne, end of the first half. The score, Navy 28, Army 7. Time to head back to our New York studio. We send it over to Timmy B, Tim Brando.
Thanks, Ian. Coming up on the Earthlink Halftime Report, Spencer and I will have all of today's scores and highlights, including, as of today, there's officially some new urban planning in Gainesville.
Army-Navy 105th meeting today here in Philadelphia. Getting ready for the start of the third quarter. Navy up big on Army. Welcome back, everybody, to the broadcast booth. Ian Eagle along with Boomer Esiason. You can understand the frustration for Army. Dominated each of the last 2 years. They thought this might be the year, and they still have the second half to prove it. They bring in Bobby Ross for the credibility factor, and really, let's face it, to try to match up with Navy, hoping to do what Navy did with Paul Johnson.
Well, I'll tell you what, Paul Johnson was very happy there at the end of the first half, and rightfully so, because his players made the plays when they had to. And I think Josh Smith is a classic example of that, Ian, as he makes a big interception on 4th and 12 of Zach Dommons. Zach Dommons trying to run out of the pocket. He's got to make something happen. When you're a quarterback, it's 4th and 12, do something, get rid of the football. But Josh Smith reads the play perfectly, takes it back. But I think this play had a profound effect on Zach Dommons, because right after this, he came out, Mr. Perseverance, as he is known around the Black Knights locker room, came back and led his team on the march for a touchdown.
Halftime stats presented by the Hartford. The Army showed some confidence offensively early in this game, and then had a couple of defensive stands as well. But all in all, we saw the power of Navy in the running game.
I mean, that option is so difficult to defend, and you've seen that time and again from Navy with Echo leading the way and Aaron Polanco having a terrific first half. Let's see if they can keep it up. And there is Kyle Echo, who is just a massive human being, and trying to tackle him is not an easy thing to do for the secondary of the Black Knights.
Echo, big Eagles fan, as we mentioned, but as we walked into the meeting room, he did mention that he had a place in his heart for the old Cincinnati Bengals and won number 7, Boomer Esiason.
He just wants more face time.
Yeah, I think that's what it was as well. Miller on the kickoff. And unreturnable, a touchback. Our QB comparison presented by Argent Mortgage. Polanco didn't throw it often, but he threw it effectively.
And not only that, but you know, some of the rushing yards that he ran for and made a key first down, a great touchdown run, a couple great blocks on the way. But Zach Dommons, Mr. Perseverance, you can say what you want about his performance, but that last series, putting 7 points on the board for Army, really, I think, indicates the type of person he is.
First play of the third quarter from the 20. Handoff to Kyle Echo, running over players. Strong run on first down as he crosses the 30-yard line. Caleb Campbell was unable to bring him down. It's a
run into that guy?
12-yard gain for Echo. Let's bring in Dwayne Ballin downstairs. Dwayne?
And I talked to Coach Bobby Ross a few moments ago. He said offensively he's pretty happy with the way they are playing, but defensively they must stop giving up the big play. It is that simple. Boomer, I'm sure you've heard those words before.
On first down, the flip goes to Eric Roberts, avoiding contact initially and then losing the ball. Army's got it at the 47-yard line. Cameron Craig, the sophomore from Garden City, Kansas.
And as I said earlier, Ian, the thing that was going to be key for Army today was on defense creating turnovers. If you can't stop them, somehow you got to get the ball out of their hands, and that's exactly what happens here in Will Sullivan. I mean, actually, Cameron Craig falls right on it, but this is the thing that Army was hoping for. This is the great equalizer between teams that have records that are so opposite as these two football teams. It's the turnover.
Dion Tarver with the stamp to jar the ball loose and give Army the football at the 42. Handoff to Carlton Jones. Trying to break to the clear, and Jones spun down just shy of the 35. Good block from the co-captain, Joel Glover, the respected leader of this offensive line.
interesting. Dwayne Ballard was saying how simple it is and how those are the words that Bobby Ross was speaking to his team. Well, I'm sure they were emphatically delivered in the locker room. And he, don't be fooled by his small stature. He is a mountain of a man when he stands in front of you and tells you what he expects of you. And you just respond to him. And I've heard him often referred to as a grandfatherly type that you don't want to let down.
Now, Bobby told us that the camaraderie on this year's Army team reminded him of a Maryland team that you played on.
Well, we had great senior leadership. I was a junior when he got there. We had guys like Dave Mazzella and Mike Corvino who were our team captains, who just wanted to win and wanted to be led by somebody who'd give us an opportunity to win. And that's exactly what Bobby Ross did for us at the university.
1st and 10 for Army after the run by Jones. Line of scrimmage, the 32. Black Knights trying to battle their way back into it, just underway in the 3rd quarter at Lincoln Financial Field in Philly. On 1st down, draw play. Jones through a hole. Carlton Jones remains on his feet and carries to the 20-yard line. That's a 12-yard burst for Jones. Offensive line, another outstanding job blocking up front, another Army 1st down.
This is just a little draw play where they show pass, see the offensive lineman pick up their hands. It looks like a pass. Hopefully you're going to get the defense to get out of their lanes. That's exactly what happened to the Navy defensive line. And Carlton Jones, a huge hole.
Jones, 5'9", 195 pounds, from Northern Vance High School, a shifty running back who has been effective this afternoon despite the score, 28-7 Navy. On a 1st and 10. From the 20. Dominant handoff. Jones curls upfield and able to fight his way for about 5. Jeff Vanek, first man there, the senior from Collegeville, Pennsylvania for Navy.
When you watch Jones run with the football, it's not a lot of fancy stuff. It's one cut and go. Drop your head, go forward. And that's exactly what you want from your running back. You don't want any indecision, and certainly Carlton Jones hasn't shown it.
17 carries, 94 yards for Jones, and a 2nd and 5 for Army. From the 15. Keep it on the ground. Jones tripped up. It was read perfectly by Mahoney, the talented sophomore. A surprise starter as a freshman. He is blossoming in his 2nd year.
And Buddy Green puts him on the end of the line. You see Mahoney at the top of your screen. Makes a nice shoe-top tackle. And when you're playing against running backs like Carlton Jones, you have to make sure that you're going to stay at home and not overrun the play. That time Mahoney got lucky, made a good play, and Jones obviously fell to the ground.
Mahoney told us being a leader at Annapolis comes with the territory. That's what they teach us there. And a 3rd and 8 now for Army. Handle the rush. Dahman steps up and throws underneath to Ulikowski. And Jared Ulikowski a little bit short of the 1st down. Reddick and Smith collaborating to bring him down.
You know, Ian, as soon as Ulikowski started to get involved a little bit in the offense, all of a sudden they started moving the football, and a nice throw by Dahman. Low and in the gut. He knows that Ulikowski is going to get hit from both sides, as does Ulikowski. Just a nice throw by Dahman. Gives him a better shot at a field goal here.
They're not going to go for it on 4th down. They send out Justin Koenig, the sophomore, a high school soccer player who possesses a strong leg. Silva will hold it. 28-yard attempt. He missed it. Wide to the right. Bobby Ross's team desperately needed some points after the turnover, and they come up empty.
And again, it goes back to the kicking game for both of these academies. It's definitely a shortcoming.
11:06 to go, 3rd quarter. Score remains the same. They've got a of Army. We are in the 3rd quarter after the turnover. Army has nothing to show for it after the 28-yard miss from Koenig.
It was interesting also, and why it was 4th and 1, why wouldn't you go for it? I think I probably would have gone for it after watching the kicking escapades, but the fact is that Army's had trouble on 4th down tonight twice. One led to a touchdown.
On 1st down, throwing. A shake and bake move by Tomlinson after the pass from Polanco. And it covers 6 yards. Let's head to New York, get an update from Tim Brando.
All right, Ian and Boomer. President Bush is with you guys in Philadelphia. On the left coast, another Bush, one that really loves the W, Reggie. On the game's second play against UCLA, set sail 65 yards as the Trojans, #1 with a bullet, lead UCLA.
I guess both Bushers having pretty good years right now, Timmy B. 10:30 to go in the third quarter, and a 28-7 lead. Here's Kyle Eckel, first down and more for Navy. With a 45-yard line, Dion Tarver missed a chance to bring him down earlier. That's a 19-yard rumble for Eckel. Next, big-time goal hopes. National title dreams are in the mix. Cadillac Williams and the Auburn Tigers take on Cedric Houston and the Tennessee Volunteers, the SEC Championship, presented by Dr. Pepper. BCS observers very interested in this one to see whether or not Auburn can continue its unbeaten season in the SEC. Coming up here on CBS, on first down, running Polanco, driven backwards. Aaron Polanco got hit hard by Greg Washington.
You know, I on that last play where we saw Kyle Eckel take the ball up the middle, normally we were watching him run over players. But as you said, Dion Tarver had a shot right at him in the middle of the field. And this is the thing that you love about Kyle Eckel, is that he can make guys miss. Now watch this shot right here by Washington. Well, that's how you hit a quarterback when he's in the open field. That's why I never ran around in the open field like that.
Washington will be participating in the East West Shrine game. Marvin Dingle has come into the game, and Dingle gets the call, crossing midfield. Just his 5th carry of the season as Dion Tarver brought him down. Washington leading the nation in tackles per game, just about 13.5 per contest.
I asked him, what was it like to know that you're going to get into so many collisions? This is the way it is.
Yeah.
That's what I live for.
His Uncle Larry is a Navy recruiter, but most of his family is Army. His Uncle Craig, a Marine, currently serving in Iraq. On a 3rd and 4, Eckel is back in there. Polanco, quick throw, and nobody home. He was looking for Tomlinson out on the perimeter. Incomplete. And maybe a miscommunication as well.
Well, certainly the Army defense is coming out of the locker room fired up, forcing a turnover, and now a punt by Navy. So Army's defense is slowed down this Navy offensive machine the first 2 series of the second half.
Return man Scott Wesley. Wesley is the junior from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. Eric Shuey, the punter for Navy. And returnable kick at the 20. Excellent coverage down the field from the midshipman, limiting Wesley to a 1-yard gain. Rob Caldwell making the play for Navy on special teams. Dahlman will get another crack at this Navy defense. 28-7. The Mids with the lead here in the third quarter. Front here in Philadelphia, etched on the wall in Memorial Hall on the campus of the Naval Academy, the names of graduates that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for their country. Sadly, 3 names recently were added to those former Navy players. The team honoring them, preparing the lockers of their fallen brothers. Scott Zellum, class of '91, Ron Winchester, 2001 graduate, and J.P. Blecksmith, class of 2003, who was killed on November 11th. And our thoughts and prayers go out to those families. Dwayne Ballin will join us momentarily with a special guest. 8:37 mark of the third. On first down, Dahlman throwing an out route to Jeremy Trimble. And out of bounds quickly as we go downstairs to Dwayne.
Thank you. I am with Ron Winchester's father. Mr. Winchester, thank you, sir, for joining us. What did this game mean to Ron?
This game was an accumulation of his whole season and everything he looked forward to. This was a Super Bowl for him, and everything came together that he was going to learn and work with his teammates and go on from there.
What is your most vivid memory of Ron in this game?
Well, actually, there was 2 of them. It was actually in his last game. In his last game, he actually went head-to-head with his best friend we went to high school with. And at the end of the game, after they had won, they were leaving the field. He led his teammates back to the stands to the family section, and they climbed in the stands. And it was a very emotional year that year because there wasn't a very lot of wins.
Thank you, sir. Our best to you and your family. Thank you. Ian?
All right, Mr. Winchester and Dwayne, thank you very much. Your jerseys draped over empty chairs in the locker room and also along the sideline. Those three fallen comrades represented today for the Naval Academy. Handoff to Carlton Jones, and Jones trying to accelerate after the first down. He picks up 4 yards. Boomer, just to follow up, J.P. Blecksmith played with a number of these players on Navy. We had a chance to speak with them earlier this week, and anytime those names came up, you could see the emotion on their faces thinking about their experiences.
You know, it's really hard to put it into words, but it kind of shows you exactly what this game is all about and where these guys are headed. Now, these seniors are going to be deployed, and they're going to be on the front lines protecting our country. And you understand that they understand that it is all about sacrifice.
Flags come down, certainly for these players wanting to savor this time before facing a sobering reality.
Snap, false start, 88 of the offense. 5-yard penalty is still second down.
Now, these two academies are in the business of training real heroes, not just football heroes, but the reality that many of these graduates are going to face within a year's time.
They're amazing young men and women, because yes, there are women at both of these academies. Most of them are enrolled post 9/11, knowing what our country is dealing with, and you can't say thank you enough to them and their families.
2nd and 11. Dahman, handoff, Carlton Jones, and Josh Smith, one of those seniors, firing through to make the play. A loss of 3.
When you talk about senior leadership, it is about Josh Smith, who missed this game last year because of appendicitis, but comes in unblocked, and that's exactly, you stick your face right into the chest of the ball carrier, and you wrap him up and take him down. What a terrific play by Josh Smith. You can tell he's playing, it's like his last Army-Navy game. This means a lot to this young man.
He has led Navy in tackles for 3 consecutive years, and a 3rd and 14 now for Army. Dahman, deep drop. Dahman forced out of the pocket, flag down. Dahman trying to run on his own, and Josh Smith again makes the play. Looked like a hold along that offensive line as they were trying to buy time for Dahman.
That's exactly what it is. It will be declined, and Army will have to punt the football.
Don't see a lot of penalties for Navy.
Holding number 74 of the offense. That penalty is refused. 4th down.
Survivor Week kicks off with a bang. The winner of this challenge ends up in the Final 4, guaranteed. And sparks will fly at the Tribal Council, so you won't want to miss a new Survivor Thursday at 8, 7 Central, and the season finale next Sunday on CBS, America's most watched network. Tomlinson. 2 punt returns already today, and Dyron Ford will move it away for Army. Spiraling punt. Tomlinson moves forward, and it takes a bounce along the sideline. Flag down. It rolls to the 37-yard line, a 30-yard punt. Penalty marker was quickly thrown as Tomlinson moved forward trying to field it. Well, sometimes you can't tell if he's calling the fair catch. We saw that earlier, that late fair catch signal.
And the same thing happens here.
The arm goes up, and Army was unable to pull back.
We have interference with the opportunity to catch a kick against the kicking team. 15 yards from the spot. 1st down.
And yet another penalty against Army, and you talk about coaching and how you're looking to see whether or not a team is coached very well. Listen, Navy, the 2nd least penalized team in the country.
Well, that shows. There's a reason why they're 8-2, and little things add up for Navy and Army. For Aflac, mark of 49, 48, and 7. When was the last time this series was tied? We'll have the answer coming up. Navy back-to-back bowl games, went to the Houston Bowl last year, a 38-14 loss to Texas Tech. Going to the Emerald Bowl out of the West Coast in San Francisco, take on New Mexico. And right now a 1st down at midfield. No gain on 1st down. Kyle Eckel. Trey Landry making the stop. Coming up Sunday on 60 Minutes, why would Bob Dylan break his long silence and do his first television interview in 19 years? There's only one way to find out. Watch 60 Minutes Sunday.
I think he says he never wanted to be a prophet or a savior. I don't know what that means, but no, actually he started when I was born, 1961. He's been around for a long time.
You're a big Dylan guy?
I am now.
Throwing on second down to Corey Dryden. And Dryden forced near the sideline by Ray Stitt. And they gain 10 yards on the play.
Well, Aaron Polanco's having quite a game. He's probably throwing a little bit more than we expected coming into this game, but he's been the catalyst for this offense. Certainly you have to pay a lot of attention to the fullback, Kyle Eckel. But when this kid gets out on the outside, he can make plays happen, and we've seen it all night long.
And they're moving the ball once again, right inside the 40-yard line. Hand it off. Eckel breaks one tackle. Here's Eckel out across the 25. And down to the turf at the 22. Tommy Ryan had a chance initially to make the stop, could not.
So we have scouts from the Packers, the Jets, and also the 49ers, and this is what they're looking at. They want to see whether or not this kid is the real deal. Fullbacks break tackles just like that. He has the speed to get through the initial line of scrimmage right here, but watch how he lowers his left shoulder. Kind of shapes John Riggins like, isn't he?
Mark Van Egan, 16 for 106 for Eckel, and he can add to it as he sticks the helmet down and carries to the 15-yard line. Tarver and Maimone combined. That's a 7-yard gain for Kyle Eckel.
And we did talk to a couple of NFL scouts that are here a little bit earlier, right before the game, and they said they were here to see this young man. And right now, as it stands, they think that he is definitely a draftable player. He is the #1, possibly #2 fullback on the board, which means somewhere between 4 and round 6. Round 4 and round 6.
2nd and 3. Eckel able to jump and create some extra running room for a first down. Now, Kyle Eckel, one thing he was so proud of, and all of these seniors were proud of, the fact that they were the class to help turn this around. And the sense of pride you get from looking back, if Navy continues on the upswing, they had a big part of it.
Well, they have been the lifeblood of it because they were here prior to the arrival of Paul Johnson, and he has really counted on them very heavily.
More of Eckel. Steady diet on this drive as all the white jerseys come in to converge on Kyle Eckel. He picks up 2.
And you have to realize that these military academies, that they don't redshirt. They don't get junior college transfers. It's very difficult to get into these schools. They have 12-hour days minimum. It is not for the faint of heart. This is the best of the best, folks. These are our future leaders, and rightfully so. When you sit and you talk to these young men, you are impressed. And I'm telling you, it just did my heart good to meet them and listen to their stories.
2nd and 8. Fake the handoff. Polanco throws. Wide open. Eric Roberts. Touchdown, Navy.
Well, that's what this triple option offense does to you. You are so focused on Kyle Eckel, Kyle Eckel, Kyle Eckel. Nice little play action pass. Deion Tarver and Kurt Daniels, the safeties, come up, and they allow the easy completion over the back of them. You can't blame them.
Polanco is now 7 of 10 for 100 yards through the air. 2 touchdowns, no picks. Extra point from Blumenfeld. Navy has topped last year's point total. We're on the verge of doing it. They've matched it. It's 34-7. Navy 35-7. Last year they scored 34. 5-7 lead. 9-yard touchdown reception. Second toss of the day for Polanco. A lot of Kyle Eckel on that drive as well. So they mixed it up, setting you up with the run and then throwing the pass for the score.
That's the danger with looking in the backfield, and when you have somebody like Kyle Eckel or Eric Roberts or even Aaron Polanco that have run the ball so effectively today as a defense, you're so overwhelmed and consumed by that there are going to be times where they pull out the old run action pass and bang, there's going to be somebody wide open. And today this Army defense is feeling that pressure, feeling that frustration.
And the frustration also emanates from the fact that Navy is the most like them. Physically, they feel like they should be able to compete with this team. There are no excuses about going up against bigger players or potentially better athletes. Here's Wesley on the return. Wesley breaking out across the 35-yard line. Foot race across 50-yard line. Here's Wesley down the sideline and forced out of bounds. Scott Wesley taking it into Navy territory as Vaughn Kelly chased him.
Finally, Scott Wesley gets a chance to make a play here. It's been a rough day for him returning kicks, and this one he finally takes up. Breaks right up the middle right here. Nice blocking at the point of attack and then takes off. And I think they might have gotten away with a little bit of a hold right there. But Wesley takes it down the sideline.
72-yard return and a 1st and 10 for Army at the 26-yard line. Double tight end set. Tyler Robinson in the backfield. And here's Dahman. Fake the handoff. Step up. Feels the pressure. Floats one. Too far for Aaron Alexander. Incomplete. Not a short touchdown if you could have found him in the corner.
I know that Zach Dahman would love to have this one back because this is, you don't get many opportunities like this, and you got to make the most of them. And it's a little bit too much mustard on it, I think. If he just flies, float it up there a little bit, it's an easy touchdown. Sometimes you rush the issue and put a little bit too much on it, and unfortunately, it's an incompletion.
And a 2nd and 10 for the Black Knights. 2:35 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Navy with a big lead, 35-7. Alexander, the motion man. Play action. Dahman set up the screen for Robinson. Has some blockers. Robinson with a flag down, spilled out across the 15-yard line. Penalty marker on the play. Nice little catch and run for Tyler Robinson. Jack Childress.
The flag was thrown for contact down the field. However, the pass did not cross the line of scrimmage in flight. There is no flag.
So the play stands for Army as we wrap up our Aflac trivia. Just to remind you about the question, Army leads the all-time series with Navy. When was the last time the series was tied? The answer? 1992. Have to go back 12 years. Navy on the verge of possibly changing that number to 2004. Coming up on 2 minutes to go in the 3rd. 1st and 10 for Army after the screenplay. Dahman, rush coming. Dahman thrown down. Josh Smith has been all over the field for the midshipmen.
And Zach Dahman helps him here a little bit, Ian. As if he just steps up, he will not get sacked, but he is forced to the right for whatever reason. Sometimes it's just ghost, and Josh Smith is sitting right there waiting for the tackle. No reason to leave the pocket, just step up and deliver the football, but he elects to move outside the pocket, and Smith is right there.
And a loss of 12 on the play. 2nd sack of the season for Smith. On 2nd and 22, Dahman's pass knocked down. Babatunde Akinbebe. I just like saying the name.
I know you like to say that name, and there isn't a better kid on the Navy team. This kid was terrific when we spoke to him. Again, remember, he came to the Naval Academy as an outside linebacker, then a defensive end, and now is down where he says the sloppy people are. In the middle, he's the nose tackle, and a nice play by Akinbebe. Akinbebe, that's it.
Call him Tunde.
That's what he likes to be called, Tunde, right. Actually, Ak or Tunde.
3rd and 22 now for Army. There's Dahman. Again the rush. Dahman throws as he was hit from behind. Incomplete. David Mahoney this time bursting through to apply the pressure.
We hear a lot about the Navy offense, and rightfully so, but this defense has got some players of its own, as we're seeing right here. Nice inside pass rush by Mahoney, as he gets right inside of Adam Wojcik. And pretty impressive team that Paul Johnson's put together here. Offense, defense, and You would think that he would be a hot prospect to go to a new school.
That's a topic I'm going to get your thoughts about as we continue along here. So many openings around college football. 4th and 22, it's rare you see a team go for it in the third quarter. But Army will, trailing 35-7. 4th down and 22. Domin to the end zone. Little pushing and shoving. Aaron Alexander and Vaughn Kelly. Incomplete.
Army's looking for a pass interference down in the end zone. It was a little incidental contact, maybe. I guess you could say that Kelly probably got his hand on Alexander right there, but a little push.
Kelly able to make the play.
And here's the offensive line right here. There's Tunde right there, non-stop, relentless. That's exactly what you want from your nose tackle.
And Army turns it over on downs. Navy takes over a 1st and 10 at their own 24. Polanco spins. Polanco gets clobbered as he crossed the 30-yard line by Greg Washington. And it's a 7-yard scamper by the quarterback, Aaron Polanco.
Those are the little things that Aaron Polanco's been doing all day long here. And every time there's a tackle, it seems like number 16's around there for the Cadets. And Washington's having a heck of a game in terms of numbers of tackles and how many collisions he's been a part of, but unfortunately he's on the short end of the scoreboard.
30 seconds to play in the third. Kyle Eckel flagged down, and Eckel turns around as the play was whistled dead.
We could have seen that 4.5 speed on display right there.
Prior to the snap, there was a false start. Right guard of the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
Penalty against Navy Tuesday on NCIS. A serial killer is loose on the web. Now the Naval Criminal Investigative Service must send out one of their own into his domain. Mark Harmon stars in a new episode of NCIS. That's Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on America's most watched network, CBS. 2nd and 9 for Navy after the call. Eckel stays in there. There's Polanco back to throw. Tip ball. And incomplete with 8 seconds to play in the third. Eric Roberts had an opportunity as it glanced off his fingertips. Now, what about Paul Johnson and other opportunities? Should he be getting some calls around big-time programs?
Listen, he's a terrific football coach, and I think the record indicates that. But the question that I would have hiring him would be, are you going to bring this offense to my major university? Unfortunately, major universities aren't looking for option offenses. They're looking for guys that can throw the football down the field. And you know, I think he's a terrific football coach, and he could probably coach at a much higher level if he'd like.
There's Polanco. He is devoured back at the 20-yard line. Seth Lotz combining with Ryan Johnson. Johnson, the senior from Berwick, Pennsylvania. End of the third quarter. Navy with a 35-7 lead on Army. We'll come back to Philadelphia. Racing. It's 35-7 Navy. They've controlled the action the last 2 years. Similar storyline here today. Ian Eagle, Boomer Esiason, Dwayne Ballin, our entire CBS sports crew. Eric Shuey will punt it for Navy. Scott Wesley standing at his own 40-yard line for Army. Just starting the fourth quarter. And Navy with the big lead. Rush coming. Shuey gets rid of it. Wesley comes forward, fields it nicely, out across the 35. Here's Wesley, almost broke a kick return, and this time on a punt return, he gives Army outstanding field position. Rob Caldwell makes the stop on special teams. 35-7, Navy with the lead on Army. Just underway here in the fourth quarter.
Looks like Wesley's trying to win the game all by himself. Couple nice returns for that young man.
He's got a quick burst. He showed that on a couple of occasions, the junior. And now Army sets up shop with a 1st and 10 at the 33. Domin throwing over the middle. And good grab by Aaron Alexander as we head downstairs. Dwayne Ballin.
And one of the things that has been going on in the Philadelphia area is called Operation Gratitude. Several area organizations have been involved. What they're doing is collecting food for troops that are stationed overseas. It's really comfort food. Great stuff, you know, like Snickers bars, things like that. Yum Yum, good stuff that you don't get when you're overseas.
Well, that's the kind of stuff you look forward to.
Yum Yums?
Well, Snickers bars.
Snickers bars, definitely. I don't know about Yum Yums, but it's great that they do that, and it's great to feel the emotion that's in this stadium. The president is here, as we saw earlier, and the way the whole city of Philadelphia embraces this particular spectacle, because it is more than a football game.
Second straight year that this city has hosted the Army-Navy game. Long-term commitment with Lincoln Financial Field. Handoff to Carlton Jones, sliding across the 20-yard line for a gain of 6 and a first down for the Black Knights. Still have a long way to go to get back into this game, but trying to save face and remain competitive with Navy. Bobby Ross knows the kind of challenge that he faces in trying to turn this Army program around. Shotgun, Domin. Fires to Nevels, the former QB, now playing wideout for Army.
Yeah, Bobby Ross actually invited 75 freshmen to practice and looked out at the Corps Cadets and said, wait a minute, there's 4,000 people here. There's got to be somebody here that can play some football, so they had open tryouts.
And in fact, Gary Whidden, a backup fullback who played on the Spirit team, emerged as a member of the varsity. Throwing to the end zone, knocked away. Hunter Reddick, the sophomore, in a matchup with Aaron Alexander. And the midshipman defensive back wins that mini battle.
Nice play by Reddick as he goes up, finds the football, and knocks it down. A lot of times you'll see defensive backs playing taller receivers have their back turned to the quarterback, but Reddick didn't do it there.
You know, also the importance of Ross to use the prep school. Navy as well. You don't have a red shirt, and that's basically your only red shirt, to get a look at some young players before they actually get to the academy. 3rd and 7. Here's Domin. Little flick. It's caught by Jones. Makes one move, and Jones is going to come up short of a first down. A 5-yard gain through the air.
Did you see Jones right there, as Army's going to have to go for it here? You can see him looking down the field, and he was looking for number 33. And that was Josh Smith, who's been all over the place for Navy today.
Timeout, Army. Navy up big. I'm not sure what he thinks about it, but it's enjoyable from a viewer standpoint.
It separates him from the other viewers.
On a 4th and 3. Army in a big hole, 35-7. Motion man Reggie Nevels. On 4th down, Domin after the timeout, the rollout and the throw, tipped and incomplete. Looking for Alexander. Bobby McLaren able to make the play. McLaren inching closer to his wedding day. He's engaged to Kate. Getting married June the 15th. Aaron Polanco watched his predecessor, quarterback Craig Candido for Navy, put up big numbers. Well, Polanco is etching his name into the Army-Navy history books.
He really is, Ian. He's taking a page right out of Candido's book, and he's doing it through the air and on the ground. And more importantly, he has just been a great leader today and has made all the plays. And the one thing about this game, you don't see any trash talking. You don't see any end zone celebrations. You're not going to see any of these players talk back to the coaches. This is a game the way it's supposed to be played. And both of these teams, regardless of who is winning, are going to play their guts out all the way until the end. There's no give up in any of these players.
35-7 Navy on first down. Run the option, and Polanco quickly bottled up at the 15-yard line by Cameron Craig. Yeah, Tyson Stahl, the left tackle for Navy. His brother Hoot graduated from the Naval Academy back in 2001. He is serving as a Marine in Iraq. Tyson told us he got an email from Hoot on Monday wanting to wish him luck against Army, biggest game of the season.
And the interesting thing about Tyson here is he came to Navy as a defensive lineman, and Paul Johnson moved into an offensive tackle.
Up the middle. Eckel. Physical running style as he crosses the 20 up near the 25. 8-yard gain.
We were talking to Paul Johnson. He said, you know, he wasn't very happy when we went to move him, but as soon as he started playing, he became real happy, and that's what it's all about for these kids, getting an opportunity to play.
And his brother Leonard for the Naval Academy, 1998 to 2000. Edward Hoopstall. You know, we talked to Tyson about his mother. Said his mom worries herself sick. Any Marine's mom is deeply affected by the current state of affairs. She asked Tyson, can't you just break your knee? Go be a supply officer somewhere. You don't have to be a Marine. Losing the football, Polanco, but he's able to cover up for Navy.
And I know how his mom obviously feels, but that's not happening with these people. These players are special people, as I keep telling you here today, and when you sit and you talk to them and you listen to them about how much they believe in what they're doing, where they're going to school, what the brotherhood is all about, then I think you can understand why they're going to do what they do. And actually, Hoot is, I believe, on his second tour of duty right now.
They got to spend one semester together, and it lifted their relationship to an even higher level. Handoff. Eckel tripped up as he hits the 25 by Will Sullivan. Back to New York. Tim Brando.
Ian and Boomer, it could be getting a bit interesting in Tinseltown. USC punter Tom Malone actually outkicks his coverage here, and Craig Bragg will have a little something to about. 96 yards he goes to make it a 10-7 game. USC holding on at number 1. Back to Ian.
We'll keep an eye on that one, Tim, and obviously USC feels like they are right on the verge of yet another championship, but they got to take care of business first. Eckel gets the call and fights his way forward as he picks up a yard and a half.
You know, that doesn't seem like much, but when you see Kyle Eckel make the first guy miss, and he never stops churning his legs and always fall forward, and that's exactly the type of attitude that you want from a fullback, and that's why NFL scouts are here to look at him.
22 carries, 132 yards, a touchdown for Eckel.
Well, he could have had a big one, too. That was called back.
No, they stopped play as he was ripping one off for 60-plus. Eric Shuey to punt it. And Wesley back deep to receive it at the 35. High punt. And Wesley, no fair catch, and he is quickly hit. Marco Nelson showing off his speed down the field for the midshipmen. 9:56 to play. We're in the fourth quarter. Navy in control.
Who is just a Army-Navy.
This is my first Army-Navy game. What an experience. This is something I'll never forget. I've never seen anything like it. You just feel the tradition in your blood and your body, so I'm very pleased to be here.
Terry Harvey of the Army, what does this mean to the troops stationed around the world?
What does this game mean? It means everything to them, and I want to take this opportunity to thank our soldiers for their sacrifice and service to our great country. They are winning the war on global terrorism. They are preserving peace and democracy. I'm very proud of them, and I'm very pleased and honored to be the 19th Secretary of the Army, and I'm looking forward to doing my part in serving our great country.
Thank you, Secretary Harvey.
All right, Dwayne, thank you very much. Secretary Harvey as well. 9:46 to go on the fourth. And a first down throw from Zach Dahman to Aaron Alexander. Line of scrimmage is now the 48. Navy with the big lead, 35-7. Dahman operating out of the gun. And Dahman will throw the short one to the flat. Carlton Jones angled out of bounds by Akinbemi. And a 3-yard gain on the swing pass.
Well, again, you know, you go back to the point where these guys will not give up. They're just going to continue to play hard. They're not even going to worry about what the score is. And you know, I go back to my initial talk with Bobby Ross when he was saying how these are the types of kids that you really want to coach because they listen, they'll respond to you, they never talk back, and they're always on time. We have an interesting story about a guy that was late.
2nd and 7. We'll tell you about that in a moment. Dahman throwing. And it's incomplete. In fact, there was a meeting set up between Bobby Ross and one of the freshmen Brandon Thompson, and it was Bobby Ross who actually wasn't there on time. And sheepishly, Thompson comes up and says, "Coach, are we supposed to be meeting 5 minutes ago?" Oh, I think I forgot about that one, son.
There was another player, not to be named, who was late for a meeting, who Bobby was going to discipline, and then Bobby kind of forgot to discipline him, and that player came back to Bobby and said, "Coach, you have to discipline me. I was late for a meeting." That would never happen anywhere else.
Doesn't happen. 9:26 to go. And Domin running with the ball as he accelerates out across the 40-yard line, and a first down for Army. You could see that gleam in the eye of Bobby Ross, the experience that he's had this year, and maybe Army supporters thought there would be more than 2 wins, but it was a step forward after going 0-13 in 2003, the worst season in school history. This is the 115th year of Army football. Out of the shotgun, Domin guns it near side to Reggie Nevels, and quickly out of bounds. It's an 8-yard gain. 9:07 to go in the fourth. 35-7, Navy in front. Bobby Ross talked about that military background. Both of his sons attended academies, Naval Academy for Kevin. Chris, his other son, went to Air Force. And a 2nd and 2. Domin throwing to Jeremy Trimble. And another first down for Army. Penalty marker on the play out around the 25-yard line. Two penalties today on Navy. And the Army penalties continue to add up. That will be number 7 against the Black Knights.
The result of the play was a first down. After the end of the play, there was a dead ball, personal foul, number 67 of the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty. The result will be a 1st and 10.
That's Pete Beers. Coming up tonight on CBS, it's a night of drama and mystery. Don't miss NCIS at 48 Hours Mystery tonight on CBS, America's most watched network. 1st and 10 as they back it up to the 41-yard line. Domin under a rush. Steps up, throws. High toss caught by Alexander. He's wrapping up his senior season. Native of Louisiana, tall and rangy wide receiver at 6'6", 199. Co-captain of this Army football team.
Yeah, they've ran this play a few times now in the second half, and they've been successful with it. They've been able to move Domin a little bit out of the pocket, get away from that defensive line, who's actually batted, I would say, what, 6, maybe 7 balls today?
I think you're right. Akinfenwa has been involved in at least 3 of them. Domin, deep drop. Domin steps up, looking to throw the long ball. Domin throws, incomplete. Trimble with a diving attempt in the back of the end zone, covered by DeJuan Price, a sophomore.
And what you're seeing now is a 3-man rush by Navy, and they're actually getting pressure on Domin. So when he breaks the pocket, there are 8 guys in the secondary, and it's very crowded back there. He can't run with it because the linebackers are sitting right there at about 5 yards deep, waiting for him to run with it, and he's trying to force it deep. 35-7, I got to tell you, I'd be doing the same thing.
Now a 2nd and 10 for Army. Black Knights trailing the midshipmen 35-7. On the give, Tyler Robinson able to accelerate through the hole and then brought down out across the 20-yard line. Well, you get all kinds here for Army-Navy. Certainly the veterans are well represented.
Interesting, in my house, my Uncle Alan, my godfather, he was on the USS Nevada during Pearl Harbor, youngest ensign in the Navy at that time, and then my father was a corporal artilleryman in the Army. So you can imagine what we were dealing with in my house.
Now, right now, your uncle's pretty happy.
Well, I'm sure he is, and I'll tell you that they were very proud of their service, and my uncle often told me about the difficulties of that day, December 7th, 1941, and you know, there's something about giving service to your country that makes you feel a certain passion and a certain emotion that, you know, many of us that haven't done that, you know, are missing in our life.
8:11 to go in the fourth. Dahmen with a deep drop in the pocket, stepping up and throwing. Ulikowski out across the 10-yard line. And Army moving the football, but now the clock becomes the factor under 8 minutes to go, and they trail 35-7.
You know, Ian, how you would ask a young NFL player if he remembered the tradition, or say somebody that went way before him. It's unlikely that he might know the history of what has gone on before him, but that's not the case for these Army and Navy football players. When you walk through these academies, the history that is bestowed upon them. As we see a touchdown pass by Zach Dahmen, nice throw.
Flag down, Aaron Alexander, the recipient, and Dahmen upset as it looks like this one is coming back. Or is it? Dahmen's first reaction was it was against Army. Looks like it was against Navy. Personal foul, midshipman, touchdown, will stand.
And as I was saying, the history that is bestowed upon them, that they all realize, that they all recognize, that they understand, and that they certainly take to heart.
35-13. Army off to take on the extra point.
Foul, number 91 of the defense. That penalty will be administered 15 yards on the kickoff.
And so many class acts that have come through the two academies. Heisman Trophy winners. Glenn Davis, one of the great names in Army history. Watching this game today, and you know he's been under the weather. We wish him all the best. Austin Miller blocked on an extra point. The little things. Hunter Reddick, sophomore from San Diego, California, able to get his hands on this attempt. Army gets the touchdown. They just don't get the 7. That the Navy fight song ends with the words "Beat Army," printed on all the weights. Beat Army. It's a major priority for the Naval Academy as we take a look at the play of the game presented by Wrangler 5-star premium denim. It's an understatement. Here it is, Wrangler 5-star play of the game and turning point of the game as well.
I don't know, Ian, 4th and 12 quarterback, you got to do something. You got to try to make a play. It just so happens that Josh Smith, one of these super seniors for Navy, comes up with yet another big play as he takes the ball out of the air as Zach Dahmen was just trying to make a play.
66 yards on the interception return for a touchdown. The Navy's got another game left. They're playing in the bowl game out on the West Coast. The Emerald Bowl in San Francisco, SBC Park, December 30th against New Mexico.
I think you should see an onside kick here. The ball being placed at the 50-yard line after that penalty that was on Navy.
Austin Miller will roll one to the 10, and Jason Tomlinson will take a knee.
I've never seen that.
It's at the 50, and he just bounced it to the 10-yard line instead of attempting the onside kick. Let's check out the CBS Sports Line stat of the game. 4th down conversions. Army electing to go for it on 4 different tries today, and coming up empty. Complete game stats at CBSSportsLine.com.
Well, 2 in the first half that were simply because I think Bobby Ross felt like he didn't want to put his defense back out on the field. And 2 in the second half simply because they are so far behind.
1st and 10 for the Mids from the 13. This is Eckel powering his way out across the 15. Let's check in with Dwayne Ballin. Dwayne.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm with Secretary England of the Navy. Secretary, things going well on this evening for your boys in blue and gold?
Things are going very well today. Thank you. Anytime it's 35-13 with 7 minutes to go, it's a great day for Navy.
I know you just returned from Iraq. What does this mean to the troops there and around the globe?
Well, first of all, I know they're watching. I was in Iraq. They were all playing to watch, all of our Marines and SEALs and Special Forces. So first, I want to say hello to them because I know they're watching. But it's important. I mean, it's a game, and they know it's a game. I mean, they're in a much, much more important activity. But nonetheless, they like to see Navy win every year against Army, so it's exciting. But like I said last year, it is just a game. But it's a competitive game, and it does teach, you know, how to be competitive later on in life when it really gets serious, like we're doing in Iraq.
Secretary England, thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks, my pleasure. Good being here. Thank you.
Ian?
All right, Dwayne, Secretary, thank you. 3rd and 3 now for Navy as we approach 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Midshipman 35, Black Knights 13. On the give. No, Polanco, a 5-yard gain by himself.
And what a nice play by Polanco, who shows a little bit of toughness right there as he bounces off a would-be tackler and then goes for the first down. And you know, it's interesting when you hear the Secretary of the Navy and the Army speak, obviously the significance of this football game, but whether you're wearing the blue and gold of Navy or the black, gold, and gray of Army, at the end of the game, you will see sportsmanship as they both come together as one, and they represent the red, white, and blue. And that's the ultimate team that they are brothers in arms for the rest of their lives.
It's Polanco again. Able to spin his way on first down. And Aaron Polanco picks up 6. Coming up tomorrow, NFL on CBS, regional action. Early on, New England at Cleveland, Houston at the Jets.
Watch that team right there.
Oh, you like Buffalo. Denver at San Diego, late game, Kansas City at Oakland. All begins the NFL today. You got Greg, you got Dan, you got Shannon, and you got the other guy. There he is. Handsome man on the right side of your screen. Boomer Esiason.
I'll tell you what, you watch Buffalo. They are 5-6. They have 5 very winnable games on their schedule, and they are playing very well right now.
Handoff to Eckel, sticking his helmet down and carrying to the 35-yard line. It's a 4-yard gain. We head back to New York. Tim Brando. Hein and Boomer, a moment ago we showed you a 96-yard punt return. This is the way USC answers. Give it to Reggie Bush. You will not find anyone catching this guy from behind. He has an 81-yarder to go ahead with his 65-yarder earlier, 153 yards on 6 rushes. UCLA added a field goal. It's now 17-10. It's got a burst.
Kind of like Kyle Eckel.
A little bit.
A little bit like Kyle. Kyle actually could be in the same backfield with him.
One day.
Next level, you never know.
On the game.
As we speak on cue.
Kyle Eckel busting to the outside, and Eckel spilled out at the 30-yard line. Caleb Campbell, the freshman, came out of the prep school and starting at the wit position. Eckel has put up huge numbers, 180 yards on the ground.
Well, we've been talking all day about Eckel and his speed. And he told us that he was a 4.55 40-yard dash guy. That's pretty good speed. And right there you can see that he has that little burst that you've been talking about. One of the things that's most impressive watching him alive is how people just bounce off of him. He reminds me, his running style reminds me a lot of John Riggins. He will lower that shoulder and you will bounce off of him if you are a would-be tackler, if you are not locked and loaded.
Marvin Dingle now in there. And Dingle gets the call straight up the middle. Time now for our Scholar Athlete presented by Red Lobster. Kurt Daniels, engineering psychology, team captain, district, academic, All-America. Red Lobster's commitment to the investment of our future is shown today, donating $1,000 to Army's General Scholarship Fund.
Now, wouldn't it be fair to say that any one of these guys could have won that?
Yeah. I mean, look at some of the majors. It's quantitative physics or quantitative economics. Lamar Owens now in the game for Navy, the backup to Polanco, a junior who may have the inside track for the starting job next year. Now, that guy looks familiar. That's actually Polanco's twin brother that you may have just seen along the sideline.
You know, and what's interesting about Aaron Polanco and his twin brother James at birth, you talk about miracle kids. Aaron Polanco was 2 pounds, and his brother James was 1 pound. And they have grown up to be Navy football players, Navy student athletes. It's a great story.
James transferred from Texas Tech to get closer to his brother Aaron. Final 2
taking it himself. And Lamar Owens angles out of bounds.
Bobby Ross probably wondering if this is going to be, signs of things to come here for Navy, watching Owens run around the corner like that. Another athletic quarterback, it looks like, in the mold for Coach Johnson and the Naval Academy.
And a 1st and 10. 2:18 to go in the fourth. Navy 35-13 over Army from the 15-yard line. And up the middle. Matt Hall getting the carry, the sophomore from Cape Coral, Florida.
And Ian, you and I were talking all week long with these players, especially the seniors, about the finality of this particular game. The fact that this is their last Army-Navy game, and I would imagine the emotion is a little bit more negative on the Army sideline as it starts to set in, realizing that they will not don that uniform anymore.
On 2nd and 9, Owens trying to make the cut. And Greg Washington there to help bring him down. Down to 1:35 left for Navy. It's going to be 3 in a row over Army. And it's not over for the midshipmen. Still have some plans on the West Coast for Bobby Ross and company. This is it for the season.
Next year, although
State, Baylor on the schedule next year, UConn.
Yeah, those are easy.
On 3rd and 12. Fake on the handoff. Owens will do it himself. Touchdown. Midshipmen. Beautiful play action. Savannah, Georgia's own Lamar Owens. He's had injury trouble his first 2 years, and maybe a sign of things to come at the quarterback position for Navy.
Coming into the game, Ian, only 20 carries for 89 yards, and Navy is going to take a timeout right here, but he's going to have a memory of a lifetime scoring a touchdown versus Army in this game.
1:25 to go, 4th quarter, and timeout taken with Navy in front, 41-13. You may have seen the beginning of our broadcast today, the open, which was so well produced. Chad Jenkins, part of that, served in Fallujah, the Army quarterback, as a senior in 2001. Graduated the academy in 2002. He's returned safely from a tour in Iraq. He's getting married next week to his soon-to-be bride, Emily. And Clint Bruce, Naval Academy, helped us out immensely preparing for this broadcast. He just wanted to say hello to SEAL Team 5 Alpha Platoon, Beef in the boys. You got to know a guy named Beef in the military. He thinks about them every day, and our thanks to Clint Bruce and his interest in helping us along the way to make this a better telecast today.
Without question, Ian, these academies instill a pride within these players and their students that is really something to marvel at. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to cover this game and to visit the academies over the week and spend time with these players and coaches and realize just how much they really mean to our country.
Well, so many negatives swirling around the sports world these days. These are players that deserve the spotlight on them. And you're right, it's been our honor and pleasure to be a part of the 105th meeting between Army and Navy. Ethan Googe onto the field. And the extra point is good. Twin brothers, Aaron and James Polanco. Navy close to another win. A football signed by all the seniors to his Aunt Jan. We're told those are his brothers. That's his family along with his real family as well. And you can see the exuberance from Jackson, who has been an emotional leader and overachiever for this Navy defense.
And if there were ever a player on this field that exemplifies the best in every human being, it's this guy right here. Many of the defensive players on Navy told us he was their inspirational leader. This means the world to him. That academy is his life, and those are his brothers to each of his side, and he will tell you that he will fight to the death for them.
It's interesting, you asked him, why do you come to Navy? He said, it's not why you come, it's why you stay.
Right.
He was ready to leave after his freshman year, but could not leave his brothers. Those are his words. Scott Wesley on the return. Able to cross the 20-yard line and extend his body. Keenan Little making the tackle on special teams, and we've got 1:19 left in our nation's rivalry.
The brother always.
J.P. Blecksmith.
I don't know, they got it.
Scott Zeller. Zellum, fallen heroes for the Naval Academy, and their thoughts are in the minds of these players right now. Their lives taken away as they were serving our nation. Matt Silva throwing on first down, and it's incomplete to Ulikowski. Navy 42, Army 13. With 1:14 left to go in this fourth quarter. Well, for Army, they were hoping for an improvement over last year. It didn't go that way for the Black Knights today. Navy continues its dominance in the series as Silva throws to the outside. Scott Wesley. And the final minute and change. The Navy midshipmen, second back-to-back Commander-in-Chief trophy in school history. They did it back in '78 and '79. And they will do it again here today. 48 seconds left. Silva, the senior from Stockton, California, is dumped by Ty Adams, the sophomore. Loss of 11. Zach Dahman will be back for his senior season next year. A lot of playing experience. And he told us, though, you never feel secure as the starting quarterback. He's felt pressure throughout the season to maintain that #1 spot. And I'm sure he'll feel it again in spring practice.
Well, I'll tell you that, you know, when you are the starter at the end of last season, and then when the next season comes by and you are a backup and you don't start until the 4th game of the season, you can understand why he's so insecure about his status. But really, I mean, he has grown immensely in the last year, not only physically but mentally. And I thought that after he threw the interception that Josh Smith took back for a touchdown, he came back and willed the touchdown for Army before the end of the first half. So, you know, I mean, if there's one thing that Bobby's got going for him, he's got his quarterback coming back next year, and that's got to be a source of comfort for Bobby Ross as a coach.
And he adapted well to Bobby Ross's system. Bobby told us that he makes all the right calls at the line of scrimmage.
And if they send in the wrong personnel that doesn't match up with the play, he'll get it straight. You know, that's half the battle for quarterbacks these days, knowing the plays and personnel and how they match up together.
Silva throwing on a 4th and 14. Jarring hit. Corey Anderson with A.J. Walker making the stick. It's incomplete.
This is tough for offenses now, this part of the game, with the score completely out of hand, and the opposing team knowing that you're going to have to throw the football. Quarterbacks and receivers are the ones that bear the brunt of the defensive shots, and that's exactly what happened right there. Good clean hit. Unfortunately, at the end of these games, this is how it goes down, and I've been in many of them where I've been on the end of those hits, and they're not fun.
How about a memory for the senior from Houston, Texas, A.J. Walker. He was on the Navy basketball team as well, and he got one last shot at a wide receiver before his college career comes to an end in the regular season. The bowl game coming up as well.
Well, Navy now goes to 9 wins. The last time they did that was in 1963 when the great Roger Staubach was their quarterback. And Paul Johnson has brought this program all the way back to the top. Congratulations to the midshipmen and Paul Johnson on a job well done.
Navy's dominance over Army continues. 3rd straight victory for the midshipmen over the Black Knights. And they do it once again in impressive fashion. Navy 42, Army 13 as we head down to the field. And Dwayne Bell.
Coach John.
Ready. Fans are as well. Peyton Manning and Bo Jackson obviously are, though neither can sing. It's the SEC Championship presented by Dr. Pepper. We'll return to the Georgia Dome right after this.
CBS Sports coverage of the SEC Championship game, presented by Dr. Pepper, is sponsored by Dr. Pepper, Sonic, Miller High Life, and by Pontiac.
Solo Mexico, her voice soars above a sweet Spanish guitar. Ana Gabriel like Dr. Pepper, originality made her a star. The taste of Dr. Pepper, the taste of originality, salutes individuality, and gives life a personality. Be you, do what you do. Be you, nothing's better, Dr. Pepper.
That for the kids?
Yeah, I just got them some sweaters.
I just got us all on the Verizon Wireless Family Share Plan with M. That way they can talk to their friends all they want. Good luck with that.
Good luck with this.
Sign up for the Family Share Plan and the whole family can make unlimited in-calls to each other and any other Verizon Wireless customer from within the America's Choice coverage area. Plus, buy one LG VX3200 for $19.99 and get up to 3 free.
Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you.
That was, Dan, and this is now 34-10 in the first game between these two teams back in October. Vern Lundquist, Todd Blackledge, along with Tracy Wolfson. We welcome you to Atlanta. Todd, how tough for one team to beat another twice in the same year?
Well, I go against what a lot of people think. I think if you beat a team convincingly in their stadium, you have a little mental edge, and I think Auburn has that. But what Auburn has to do in the game tonight, they've got to come in and be focused, but they also have to play loose. They've won 11 games this year by having an aggressive, let-it-rip attitude. The other thing they've got to do, they've got to make Tennessee defend the whole field. Their offensive balance is what's made them special this year. Whether it's Jason Campbell throwing or Ronnie Brown and Carnell Williams running it, they've got to make Tennessee defend everything. Now, when you turn it over and talk about Tennessee, what do they have to do? 6 turnovers when they played before. They must protect the football. That is quarterback Rick Clausen's #1 job tonight. But most importantly for Tennessee, their defense must be stout early. Keep an eye on defensive tackle Jesse Mahalona because he sets the tempo for the Volunteer defense.
Auburn leads the series 24-21 and 3. 34-10 Tigers in the first meeting. The last time, the only time they have met in the Georgia Dome. Tennessee won the championship 30-29. Tennessee won the toss. They have elected to defer the option to the second half. That means they will kick off in the form of James Wilhoit. You see 25 touchbacks and 61 kicks. Carnell Williams to the left. Devin Aromashadu is to the right. Auburn excels in special teams play. Tennessee has been abysmal. Here's the kick. This is a good one. Nice start. And Cadillac Williams, a bit surprisingly, decides to bring it out, and he is dropped inside the 15-yard line. Ben Green made the tackle.
Well, one of the first things I said, you must not be tentative. Play aggressive. Carnell Williams, a little hesitation on the return. We know he's a great returner, but a little hesitation causes Auburn to start inside their own 20 the first time with the football.
Ben Green with the tackle. Jason Campbell is the quarterback, the senior from Taylorsville, Mississippi. He has had a superb senior season. Look at that, 69%, 16 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. With a win tonight, he becomes the all-time leader in career victories. It would be his 30th, breaking a tie that he currently holds with Stan White.
And I think the biggest difference in Jason Campbell this year is not anything physically. He's always been gifted physically, but he has played this year not afraid to make mistakes, and that's been all the difference in the world, his confidence level.
You notice they've scored on 8 of 11 drives. They've only punted once on their first drive of the ball game. Here's Campbell going deep. Courtney Taylor wide open. Blown coverage. He's still loose. Tennessee secondary very, very suspect, and we see it right off the bat. 56 yards.
Well, they went play action right away. Tennessee probably thinking run right away. This is Courtney Taylor, and they're going to just cross him. It's not a complicated route, but nobody stays with Courtney Taylor. They have him on the short route, and then when he turns him over, there's nobody deep. And Jason Campbell finds the right guy, and just like that, Auburn with another big play.
They'll go from the shotgun with a first down at the 30-yard line. Campbell 5 yards back. There's a play fake, and Campbell will run. He doesn't do this a lot, but he does it effectively.
Well, and I was at practice Wednesday, and Tommy Tuberville said, we are going to run more with Jason tonight.
And let's check the starting lineup. Presented by Dr. Pepper. Up front, McNeil, Grubbs, Engel, Lindsey, and Troy Reddick. Carnell Williams and Ronnie Brown, the stellar seniors in the backfield. Roma Shadu and Taylor, the wideouts, and Cooper Wallace is the tight end. Tommy Tuberville, what a difference 1 year makes. What a difference.
He could write a book, I think.
Probably will.
Yeah.
Second down and 4. Jake Slaughter's in as the fullback. Here's play fake, and he's got a man wide open. It's Wallace, the tight end. Boy. Inside the 5. Cooper Wallace. Don't use him often, but they use him effectively.
Well, the scary thing for Tennessee is Auburn has thrown 2 passes, and in both cases, the wide receiver has been wide open. Now, this is Cooper Wallace here. It's just a crossing route off the bootleg. You've got to respect the run fake. You got to respect Ronnie and Carnell. That gets the linebackers going. Kevin Burnett out of position, and Cooper Wallace, the tight end, crosses right behind him for the completion.
First and goal at the 3. Slaughter, the fullback. Cadillac Williams is the tailback. Here's the handoff. Lead block by Slaughter. Williams to the 1. Struggling. Fumbles in the end zone. It's loose and recovered.
Cole Bennett got it.
Cole Bennett, the backup tight end. Touchdown, Auburn.
I was just about to say this has been way too easy for Auburn because it looked like Carnell was going to kind of knife his way into the end zone, but he lost the ball, but Auburn still gets the touchdown.
John Vaughn on for the extra point. He's missed once this year. Not this time.
Carnell Williams very good on the goal line. The hit by Jonathan Wade knocked the ball loose, and then Cole Bennett alertly, not the first guy to get to it, but the guy that secured the football in the end zone. A couple different players had a shot at it. Cole Bennett will be able to tell his grandkids, I scored a touchdown in the SEC championship game a long time ago.
The Auburn Tigers have now scored on 9 of 12 first possessions. 4 plays, 86 yards. That is the fastest score in SEC championship history. Cole Bennett got it with a fumble recovery after Cadillac Williams was hit and dropped the ball. Philip Yost will kick off. Gerald Riggs is back to return it. Mention how abysmal special teams have been for Tennessee. They rank 103rd of 117 teams in Division I in kickoff returns, and it's a moot point on this one as Yost drives it 10 yards deep. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, let's take a look where Cole Bennett was. Here he is right here. He's the backside tight end. The play is going the other way. They actually had a defensive tackle or offensive tackle playing tight end on the other side. Jonathan Wade comes in with a good hit right on the football. Carnell Williams was not ready for that hit, and Cole Bennett comes up with a touchdown. Watch Jonathan Wade. And Carnell normally knows where everybody's coming from. Had no idea where Jonathan Wade was coming from. Put the shoulder right on the football. And Cole Bennett came up with the touchdown.
Now, Rick Clausen, the junior from Thousand Oaks, California, and a quarterback. He hands it off to second man through that Cedric Houston.
Good run. Good first play for Tennessee.
Well, Rick Clausen started his career. He's Casey Clausen's younger brother. Started his career at LSU, transferred, sat out last season, began this year as the number 3 quarterback. Injuries to Eric Ainge, Brent Schaefer, they are out. And Clausen is getting a start in his 3rd game. He played very, very well last week in the win over Kentucky.
And he's gotten better the more that he's played. And what he gives Tennessee is a little more maturity and ability to do things at the line.
Houston forced back inside. Travis Williams made it after Jay Ratliff forced it. That's a loss of 3.
The one thing about this Auburn defense, they're not one of the bigger defenses you'll see, but they're very fast and they're fundamentally very sound. And when you do get them blocked, they don't stay blocked very long. They use their quickness and their speed to their advantage. They get off blocks very well, very quickly, and they get you in 3rd down, and that is where they have been outstanding.
Lead the country in scoring defense, and they're top 10 in 3 other categories.
Not bad, huh?
No. 3rd and 6. Here's Clausen back to throw. Blitz coming. He fires it. It's dropped. A little behind the senior Tony Brown, but that's a should have had.
Well, it was pretty good protection, and I think Rick Clausen may have hurried that one just a little bit. He had a little better protection than maybe he thought he was going to get on this first 3rd down play. He threw it a little too soon, and it was behind Tony Brown. But again, when you're the underdog like Tennessee, you've got to come up with as many of those plays as you can. 3
and out in this one. Here's Dustin Colquitt. And that is not his best effort. He's not having a great season. He was an All-American a year ago. And here's Cadillac Williams back to return the punt. And he doesn't get anywhere. 44-yard punt for Colquitt, 1 yard on the return. But 3 and out for Tennessee, just as they went 3 and out in game 1 in October. And big plays did them in then. 2 huge plays have given Auburn a 7-zip lead.
Control the polls, but they can control what kind of legacy they leave. A win today, and these Tigers could become the first in school history to go 12-0 on the season. A victory will also give them their first SEC championship game win and their first SEC title in 15 years. Head coach Tommy Tuberville put it like this. He said, to get to Atlanta and win here is our #1 goal. Only us as coaches and players know how hard it is to do what we have done so far. To finish it off is one of the hardest things in sports. He said, you just have to go out and do it. Back to you, Vern.
All right, Tracy, 7-0 here. Ball on the 34. Second Auburn possession. Cadillac Williams in the backfield. Ronnie Brown, number 23, lines up and a wing to the left. Here's the handoff to Cadillac Williams. Gets across the 35 and out to the 38-yard line. That's a gain of 4. Well, Auburn in the battle for BCS championship game standings. USC and Oklahoma have been 1-2 in everything all season long, and they were 1-2 in the BCS polls first came out. Auburn trying to vault over one or the other.
And USC playing crosstown rival UCLA tonight in a bit of a tussle. 17-10 right now in that ball game.
Second down and 6. And again, Campbell out of the spread. 4-man rush for Tennessee. A little inside shovel. Here's Ronnie Brown. Zips across the 50 down to the 49. A quick gain of 13 for number 23.
Well, what we're seeing is that aggressive offensive mentality that Al Borges has brought to this Auburn offense. He's got a senior quarterback. He's got a pair of very talented senior running backs. He can use them in a lot of different ways, and when you are two-dimensional, legitimately, you are very difficult to defend, and Auburn is very two-dimensional in their offense this season.
First and 10 after the gain of 13. That is the third play in excess of 10 yards already. Play fake. Campbell under pressure, has a relief man, and there's Ben Obomanu. Nobody around him, and Obomanu is belted out of bounds, and there's a little jawing going on. That's a gain of 16. That is the fourth play. Over 10 yards already.
And I'm a little bit surprised, not because of Auburn, but because of Tennessee's defense. John Chavis told us over. When we played them the first time, as we take a look at Obomanu coming as an underneath route, an outlet receiver, and Jason Campbell found him. But John Chavis said, hey, look, when we played them in October, they had 5 plays in the first half that accounted for 188 yards. Other than that, we played pretty well. Well, now we're barely into this game, and as you mentioned, already 4 plays over 10 yards, all of them passes.
Campbell has completed 4 for 106. And off to Cadillac Williams. Goes left, jukes the defender. That was Jonathan Wade. There's some laundry on the ground.
Yes, indeed. Well, we've seen some missed tackles already in the ballgame tonight for Tennessee's defense. This one doesn't even qualify as a missed tackle. This one is more of a leave you sprawling on the Georgia Dome turf. Watch Carnell Williams just stop, plant the right foot, and boop, bounce back outside. And Jonathan Wade, who's a very athletic corner, no chance.
And a first down at the 20-yard line. Whistle before the snap. Well, this Tennessee defense, let's introduce them to you before changes are made. Defensive line, Paris Harrelson, Turk McBride, Jesse Mahalona, and Carlton Neal. The linebackers, Omar Gaither, Jason Mitchell, Kevin Burnett, the senior. And the secondary, which has been a problem. Rashawn Fellows, Jason Allen's had a great year. Corey Campbell, Jonathan Hefney. And here is John Chavis, the defensive coordinator. Long-time assistant coach at his alma mater, Tennessee.
And I'll tell you, it's been a tough year for him because, you know, you mentioned Jason Allen. He has had a great year in terms of tackling, but they're last in the SEC in pass defense. Way too many big plays they've given up.
Here's a pass. It's caught by Ronnie Brown, and a good job defensively will limit that after the penalty was walked off against Auburn. It was a false start penalty, and that tackle made by Turk McBride.
You know, I mentioned at the beginning of the show how important it was for Tennessee to play well defensively early. Auburn has outscored their opponents in the first half 194-32, and the only 2 teams that have hung around in the fourth quarter, LSU and Alabama, against this Auburn team, did it because their defense played well early and really took the game to Auburn.
Second down and 15 now. Campbell, play action again, looks deep. He'll scramble, gets a nice block, finds a man open. It's Ronnie Brown. He got a terrific block from Ben Grubbs.
Yeah, that's pretty good downfield defense that time by Tennessee, forcing Jason Campbell to go underneath. It was second down and long. And Auburn tried to flood the field. They tried to get 3 receivers over on the same side of the field, and Jason Campbell was forced to take the shortest alternative.
Now take a look at the first quarter dominance by Auburn. 116-12. Second quarter, I mean, the only quarter that's even resembled anything close is number 4.
Yeah, and that's when all their starters are out.
Right. 3rd and 5. Auburn loads up the left side. Mix is the middle of 3. Here's Campbell. Half roll, fires it. It's caught by Obomanu. He appears to have a first down. He is belted by Jason Allen. But I think Obomanu had enough to give Auburn a 1st and goal. Jason Allen, who told us yesterday, I am so excited. I have never played in the championship game at any level.
Well, he better strap it up because Auburn's coming. Here's Obomanu. This is like a little pick play. These guys go in, he goes out, and no defender is able to get out there with Obomanu. See, defenses call that a pick. Offensive players call that a rub play. Now, however you interpret it, it's a 1st down for Auburn.
Must be a rub because picks are illegal.
And no, the yellow flags were on the field.
1st down and goal. Just. And the play clock on 5. Motion. 3 point. Now there's a flag on the far side.
There'll probably be offsides on Tennessee.
Yep, so it is a free play.
So
looks like Jason Hall might have jumped.
One other thing to keep in mind about this ball game. Tennessee played last week and had to fight to the very end. They scored the winning touchdown with 12 seconds left to beat Kentucky 37-31. Auburn had the week off. This is a more rested football team and a healthier football team than Tennessee right now.
This is Steve Landis, who is refereeing his final game tonight. He's decided to call it a career as a referee in the Southeastern Conference. And after the penalty is marked off, it's 1st and goal from just inside the 5. This has been all Auburn all the time. Cadillac Williams is the deep back. Campbell under Jeremy Ingle. Play fake. Campbell comes right. Looks. Nobody open. Good pressure. He throws it away.
Good defense and a good decision by Jason Campbell.
Paris Harrelson, number 98. And Campbell and Harrelson will have a little chat.
You don't see Jason talk too much. Now, those are both Mississippi guys. Paris Harrelson's from Flora, Mississippi. Jason Campbell from Taylorsville, Mississippi. And it's a clean hit and a good to see. Well, there is a hand up in the face mask, but Steve Landis was on the back side of it. Maybe couldn't see that.
Paris Harrelson, first name is spelled P-A-R-Y-S. We chatted with him in midseason, said, why isn't it just P-A-R-I-S? He said, let me call my mom and find out. He called his mother while we were meeting with him. She said, Paris with a Y sounds more masculine.
Yeah. That was a great moment.
2nd down and goal. Toss left. Cadillac. Belton. Touchdown. Auburn. They're up by 13. Straight game of the rushing touchdown. That is a new Auburn Tiger record. As a senior at Etowah High School in Atala, Alabama, Cadillac Williams agreed to attend Tennessee. Tommy Tuberville took 5 of his assistants, went to Cadillac's home and said, could we talk? He agreed to make an official visit to Auburn, signed there, and is capping an illustrious career. Extra point is good. 8:35 to go, 1st quarter. This is a Tennessee Volunteer worst nightmare. Carnell Williams in the 9th consecutive game. There's his mom, Sherry Jackson, and quite a tribute to the 3 seniors that we spotlighted in the open. She wears a jersey. Well, you can't see it now because the hefty fella stood up with no sense of drama. Here's the kick. And this will be Riggs at the goal line. Riggs across the 20 and out to the 23-yard line. And Sherry Jackson, we were mentioning, she's from Atala, Alabama, wears a special jersey with number 23 on the front, 24 on the other side, and 17 on the sleeves. Really, trust me on this. She truly does.
Well, that's quite a backfield. She's well represented because those 3 young men have played at an All-American level this year, and may all 3 end up being first-round draft picks in the NFL next spring.
1st and 10, Tennessee. 3 and out the first time. They're down by 14. Handoff. Cedric Houston, number 21, spilled at the 25.
I want to go back to the touchdown because it's worth watching the execution of the blocking. 3 great blocks. Watch the 2 wide receivers and then watch big Marcus McNeil go out to make his block. This is perfect execution to get the running back to the corner. McNeil knocks out Jonathan Wade, and then you see the strength of Carnell Williams run through Jason Allen again.
And one of the signature plays of game 1 was Jason Allen being rocked back on his heels by Ronnie Brown. 2nd down. Here's the change. Rick Clausen. Into the left side. It's caught by Tony Brown. Nice open field job. Montavis Pitts. Number 19. And we need to introduce you to the Tennessee offense. You've seen Rick Clausen, the junior from Thousand Oaks, California. The offensive line, Aaron Sears, whose brother Kevin is a starting linebacker for Auburn. Smith, Respert, Gandy, and Torina. Houston, Corey Anderson in the backfield, Swain and Hannon, along with Tony Brown, the 3 wideouts.
Well, this is where Auburn has been really tough. When they get you in 3rd and 7+, they are very difficult to convert on.
Auburn brings 4. Backside. Pass is the left side. It's tipped away by Carlos Rogers, the All-American, number 14.
Well, a couple problems there on that play. Number one, it's a really long throw. They were on the left hash, and he's throwing it out all the way to the right sideline. Number two, you're going against the best cover corner, I think, in the SEC this year in Carlos Rogers, who's very rangy at 6'1", 200. That ball's in the air a long time, and Rogers able to make the play easily.
For the season, only 17 passes have been completed in front of Carlos Rogers. He's been thrown at only 63 times now, including that last pass.
And they're trying to bait Dustin Colquitt to raise up and throw the football here. They moved on the coverage.
Oh, boy, it looked like they were coming. There is contact, and there is no flag. And a fair catch called by Carnell Williams at the 35-yard line.
I love the aggressiveness of Auburn's football team. They've been aggressive on offense, they've been aggressive on defense, and going after the punter, aggressive on special teams. They know they're the better team coming in, and they're playing like it so far. It's called Stromo. Almost 70% completions, a lot of deep balls. Watch the beautiful arc on the ball. That's just one football, believe me, but perfect throw to the outside receiver, Courtney Taylor, and right out of the box. Auburn was off to a fast start.
You know, if Peter Costas gets ill for our golf coverage, you can take his spot and analyze Tiger Woods' swing. No?
No.
No?
I don't know enough about the golf swing. Mine's pretty ugly.
Okay. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns. Here's Silas Daniels, number 85, who starts in motion, then sets up. Here's the handoff. No, play action. Campbell. He wants to go deep for Silas Daniels. Goes short instead. Aroma Shadu with Omar Gaither in the neighborhood cannot hang on.
And Tennessee looked a little more settled down on that play. Again, very aggressive call. Good play fake, but Tennessee in position. Omar Gaither was in position enough to disrupt that throw and catch to Aroma Shadu. But if you look at what's happened so far, total domination by Auburn, and the last 2 times these teams have played, last year in Auburn and in October in Knoxville, the same thing has happened. Auburn has jumped on them right away and buried them early in the football game.
2nd and 10 now with a 14-0 lead. The ball at the 35. Campbell, Williams, and it'll be the first 3rd and long. And for an injury update, let's check in with Tracy Wolfson.
Thanks, Vern. You're not seeing Tennessee free safety Jason Allen in the game right now. He has a severe laceration on his right elbow. He's been taken to the locker room. They're going to clean him up and stitch him up, and they're hoping he can return.
I wonder if that didn't happen when Cadillac Williams rolled him over on the touchdown run.
And that's a key loss because they were already hurting at the safety position. That has been one of their real weak points, the strong safety position. Jason Allen, their leading tackler by far.
3rd and 10. Tennessee will go with 3 men down. Mahalona just hurried off at a defensive tackle spot. Here's Engel checking. Snaps it back. They rush 5. Campbell across the middle. The catch is made by Ronnie Brown, but it will force the first Auburn punt of the evening.
And that was a good defensive call by John Chavis to go after Jason Campbell, even though it was 3rd and long. Try to make him throw short, and that's what they got. They got pressure. They brought extra people. They knocked Jason Campbell down, and they forced him to throw underneath, and then they made the tackle short of the first down. Good rush, good coverage, and a punt for Auburn.
Brings on Cody Bliss. You think he's gotten tired? I don't believe so. 8 times in the last 8 games. And this one, well, maybe he is tired. Yeah.
Well, it looks like he's only punted a few times.
That was pretty poor. My friend Pat Hayden would now say, "Thank you very much."
Yes, he would. Very appropriately.
15-yard punt. 1-5. At the conclusion of tonight's game, go to CBS Sportsline and get your SEC Champs gear. Just click on Shop at CBSSportsline.com.
A good field position now for Tennessee, and I think Randy Sanders, the offensive coordinator, he's got to be a little aggressive. The best time, I think, to throw on Auburn is off of play action on early downs and try to get a big chunky yardage, maybe even try to get Robert Meacham involved in the game, number 3. He's their big play receiver.
High formation on 1st and 10. Best field position by far. Here's Clausen going deep right side. They go at Montavis Pitts, and he can't hang on. Chris Hannon had Pitts beaten, had both hands on the football, and it goes incomplete. complete.
And I'll say it again, when you are the underdog team coming in, you have got to make these plays. A great call by Randy Sanders, a great throw by Rick Clausen, and Chris Hannon has to come up with that catch. He gets both hands on it. Yes, it was a dive. Yes, it made it tough. But if you want to be in this kind of a game, you've got to make those plays.
Randy Sanders, who was a quarterback at Tennessee in the mid-'80s, offensive coordinator, has worked with 3 quarterbacks now and a patched-up offensive line. He's had a good year as the offensive coordinator. Here's Clausen. Zings this one out to Jason Swain, and it's too high, and Montavis Pitts comes up, and he'll do a little chatting. Well, Schaefer and Ainge were declared co-starters by Philip Fulmer back in August. Brent Schaefer was the first to go down. That happened, a separated shoulder against South Carolina. And then 3.5 weeks ago against Notre Dame, final play of the half. Talk about inexplicable. They decide to go out of the shotgun. Ainge out for the season. In the Notre Dame game, Clausen came on, threw a costly interception to Mike Goolsby that turned out to be the game-winning points in that loss to Notre Dame. Here's Clausen. Zings it left side. Corey Anderson, no thank you. Stanley McClover, who may be the most enthusiastic player on this Auburn defense.
Well, I'll guarantee you one thing. He's the fastest defensive lineman in the league. Here he is. Now, this is a blitz, and he's got to cover the back, and he does it. They blitz the safety, Will Herring, and they drop the defensive end to cover the running back on the screen. He didn't have to run very far, but he was all over that play. And this is a very well-disciplined Auburn defense under Gene Chizik.
And for the 3rd time, Tennessee goes 3 and out. Colquitt is on to punt. Carnell Williams this time is camped at the 10-yard line.
And Colquitt needs to punt like an All-American for Tennessee tonight. I know he's had a tough year, but they need him to be strong tonight.
This one's sky high. And a fair catch called by Cadillac Williams and taken at the 17-yard line. Well, he is averaging Colquitt 41.4 this season of the kicking Colquitt family, and that's not good by his standards. Tuesday on NCIS, a serial killer is loose on the web. Now the Naval Criminal Investigative Service must send one of their own into his domain. Mark Harmon stars in a new episode of NCIS Tuesday, 8 o'clock, 7 Central on CBS, America's most watched network. 14-0, latter stages, opening quarter. 2 touchdowns, a fumble recovery in the end zone by Cole Bennett, the Cadillac Williams fumble at the 1, and then Williams with a touchdown on the ground. Here's Ronnie Brown, and he's belted. So that's about 4 good defensive plays.
They've settled down a little bit. And it looked like they were going to get run out of the building on the first couple possessions, but the last 4 or 5 plays, John Chavis's defense has settled down a little bit. Now the key is if they're solid against the run, they can't give up more big plays in that passing game. They've got to find a way to cover the receivers closer and get a little more pressure on Jason Campbell. It's one thing to play well against the run, but then when you give up big chunks of yardage with passing plays, it really negates what you do up front.
On 2nd and 10, spread formation, Ronnie Brown goes wide to the left where he'll stop. Here's Campbell, comes back to the right, underneath, Obumanu. Nifty play.
Bad tackling. Nifty running, bad tackling by Tennessee. I mean, you're not going to just knock guys down. Obumanu's a 200-pound receiver. I mean, he's not a little flyweight out there. And so when you just hit him, he just bounces off a few yards and keeps running. About 3 or 4 missed tackles on that play and brings Auburn very close to another first down.
So close they will bring out the chain. Ben Obumanu, 22 receptions for the year, 6 touchdowns, so his touchdown per catch ratio is outstanding. Just short.
9 missed tackles in the ball game so far now for Tennessee. And remember, the last 2 weeks this team has won very close games over Vanderbilt and Kentucky. But they've given up 743 yards and 57 points coming into tonight. They've already given up 14 in this one. So this has not been a 3-week stretch of defense for John Chavis and the Tennessee Volunteers that he's going to be quick to remember.
Well, the tackling has been so poor that in a conference call with us On Tuesday, he asked if you had any eligibility left and if you'd like to play on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
He asked me, but I don't think
he was really
serious.
desperate, I think, for both of us.
Yes. 3rd and short. Quarterback sneak, Campbell. Let's see where the spot is. Looks like he got it.
Should have it.
Auburn, of course, trying to become the first team to ever win 12 games in Auburn history. First SEC championship in 1987. The only national championship in the history of the school came in 1957. They were on probation back then, so did not play in a bowl game. They did go undefeated. 93, they were 11-0, probation, and eligible for the SEC title. In 58, 9-0-1. This has been a magical ride for Tommy Tuberville and the Auburn Tigers. Now the play clock down at 2-1.
I don't think they got it, did they?
Apparently so. Here's Campbell, fires it. Obamanu up at the 35-yard line. And let's go back to the studio for a Pontiac game-changing performance. Here's Tim Brando.
All right, Vernon Todd, it's getting interesting now. Manny White of UCLA is going to take it in from 9 yards out. Do you ever notice, fellas, that no one ever questions whether USC is number 1, only whether Oklahoma is number 2 or Auburn? Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Well, I said this a couple weeks ago, and I'm not taking anything away from USC by saying this. I think they're a great football team, but I think they were ranked number 1 from the very beginning because of what happened to them last year. And I think there was a lot of sentiment coming into this year that USC was the team that got left out last year, and that's not going to happen this year.
There's Campbell setting up a screen pass right side, incomplete. Well, the other factor that we've discussed a couple of times, here's Campbell holding his left foot.
He's a little slow getting up.
Jesse Mahalona got to him.
Jesse Mahalona has had a couple off weeks, but I expected him to come out and play well today, and he looks better. You see him, it's a low tackle, nothing dirty by Mahalona, just that's where he ended up getting Jason Campbell as he released the football. But Mahalona played the last